Oh, there we go. Perfect.
This packet is also online, so we go to the website, go to our meeting tonight. Go to our website and go to our, put my microphone on first. You go to our website, go to our meeting. The agenda packet that you're seeing tonight is also posted there.
Okay,
as well.
gotcha.
So,
Okay.
Do you want me to get your thing?
All right.
the microphone is on.
Excellent. We got Counselor Cuthbertson on Zoom. Counselor Williams had a work emergency, so she will not be joining us this evening, but everybody else is here. So I say we go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and call an ordinance committee meeting to order for December 4th, 2024. And there's not much on the agenda, but the one thing that really is on there is important that we need to talk about tonight. So I'm going straight to new business, revising penalties in the city code. And we have a packet here in front of us. I know, Jeannie, you don't, but just listen along.
For Jeannie, it would be online. I have this entire packet in PDF format.
Okay, so that's not just the agenda, but the packet too.
The packet as well, correct.
So if you want to see the packet, Jeannie, just go ahead and navigate to the city website.
Yeah, I'm on there and I see the agenda. I just don't know how to get to the packet. I'm having trouble finding the packet.
The agenda should be on that same page.
Okay.
So let's see, if I go to CI.Monroe.
It's there. You just have to click on it. I got it. I found it.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yay.
Yeah. There we
Okay, got it.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay. So, I mean, we got the packet now, and I mean, on the first page here, it's chapter 10 and it's, general penalty.
Yeah, so on the back of your agenda, or the second page after the agenda, if you're online, you will see some basic penalties. Okay. And so we have like a single amount. So some penalties might be you get fined $1,000. Another one, which we have in a lot of ours, is up to a certain amount, like up to $500 or $1,000. All these dollar amounts here are just examples. I just threw in numbers. Some of them are a single amount. Some are a single amount plus a day of violation, which is usually if you have up to something and then up something else, you have like a 500 day per day of violation. We have sliding scales, and these, by the way, are kind of reversed from the state of Oregon. Usually a class A is the most expensive and a class D is the least expensive, but the states, for instance, are based on severity. They decide that a traffic ticket is worth $45 minimum, and going 110 miles an hour racing down I-5 is basically $1,000 plus, and misdemeanor and jail time and everything else. And we also have a couple places that you'll see, we also base them on the number of offenses. So the first time you don't mow your weeds is $25. Second time you don't mow your weeds is $50, $125, $250, or something of that nature. So the more you have offenses, the steeper the penalty. So that's kind of that's in general how folks do penalties. We do not have any severities in ours. Most of ours are up to a single amount, and some have up to a single amount plus X amount per day of violation. And our sliding scales, we do have a few, but they're based on the number of offenses. I'm giving you this because that's what I see in the world, and there you go.
Okay, cool.
I have a question. So, for these violation amounts, I know that we also pay a fee to the state for.
Not for these.
Okay.
Okay, so the fee to the state is only for traffic citations that Benton County produces.
Okay. I just want to make sure that if there was that we account for those, so that it's not just sending all the money to the state.
Right. No,
that's on city streets as well as county streets. When the county produces
the county produces a traffic citation that we have adopted. Now, yes, that is accurate. However, you will see in here that and as we go through this, that where there are traffic violations, we increase our fees for that.
Okay.
Okay, so in addition to whatever the state requires, that would be a Class A through Class E violation.
Mhm.
And that is under chapter 153 right here. I will, let me make sure I share that as well. Okay, so
153 is not in our package, correct?
what I'm showing you now is online. I'm just showing you what the state of Oregon has for its violations and this would be, they do it by classes.
Should we
This
have
is-
ours inverted like that as well?
We should, if we're going to adopt it that way. If
Okay.
we're going to adopt by severity, yes.
Okay,
But what we have done is we've adopted traffic ordinances.
Mhm.
We've adopted traffic ordinances, the state's laws.
Right.
Okay, so if you do not stop at a stop sign on 7th and Commercial and the police officer stops you, he is going to cite you under one of these class violations.
Mhm.
oh, okay.
Okay. So this is how the state does it for maximum. There is a presumptive fine. This is what they'll put down on your ticket. Okay, the judge can go up to the maximum
Mhm.
and he can not charge less than the minimum, which is there. So you can see if you get a Class A violation of some sort, which is pretty egregious, the least he can charge is $225. When we get that, if they're found guilty and as soon as they pay, as soon as the
Mhm.
municipal court judge says, okay, can you pay your fine today? Then we owe the state of Oregon $50 and $15 to Benton County. As soon as they pay.
Mhm.
Okay, so if they don't pay, and a lot don't, then we don't owe the state anything.
Okay.
Okay, so that's kind of how it works. So yes, on here, I did not, the severity scale is, this would be ours, not theirs. We've already adopted the state laws.
Mm,
And you'll see that as we go through to the traffic. We have a couple areas that are traffic related, and you'll see that we have adopted the state laws in that regard. I just wanted to show you what the state of Oregon does. This is from this Department of Justice. This is, I think, current. They do change them each year. They're required to by law review their presumptive minimum and maximum fines and all that. They want, and from the state of Oregon's viewpoint, they're uniform throughout the state for things. So you can't go to Pendleton, for instance, and the state police can't find you something different than they would in Monroe. That does not mean we can't. And you'll see when we get to some of the traffic fines that in addition to whatever the state does, we add something to it. If the crime that's happened in our city or the penalty is the same as what the statutory is, then like it's double. And that accounts for what Counselor Rich was suggesting is that we have to pay for our court, we have to pay the state and county their share of the
well, because
fine.
basically they broke state law and county law, right? So,
And
so that's why.
in the
everybody
city of
gets a-
Monroe, so.
So that's why everybody gets a cut of the. fee.
Everyone gets a cut, including the city of Monroe in that respect.
Okay.
All over the place.
No,
So
but
in-
I was saying in here, like, I know you have the A's as the lower. I
It
didn't know
it
if
would
we-
be, if we reduce severity, I think we'd want
We
to
should
mirror,
model it off
model
of-
it and reverse
Yeah.
it.
Just so it's not confusing for law enforcement as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you reduce severity. So in your packet, everything in this packet is based upon our current code and essentially the chapters that have penalties. This is not all the code that's in there. Some of it is summarized, some of it, I just wanted to make sure that if you're looking at it and trying to decide what kind of penalty it should be, you get a good idea of what it is you're doing. So in some cases, the detail is not there. In other cases, I've also included the abatement process, which often is in addition to any penalties or fines. So starting with chapter 10. Chapter 10 is our general penalty. This is the catch-all penalty. Basically, if it's not listed anywhere else and the council wants to penalize somebody, chapter 10, 10.99 general penalty applies.
Interesting.
In this case, it is by a fine not to exceed $500. And you can see that any person violating any provision of this code, which is identical to a state statute, shall upon be conviction be punished by the penalty prescribed by state statute.
Okay.
Whichever is more or less.
And this is basically just for any things that we have
That is
stuff
not
on the books, but there's no defined
penalty
penalty
for it.
for it.
That
Okay.
is correct. So if we had no penalties at all assigned anywhere, except we adopted the state statutes were applicable, this is the penalty, and we just referenced the general penalty, this would be it.
And I see that it does go, each date is a separate violation.
Correct. So it's a very, this is probably the simplest one to understand. Um,
And it tacks up quickly.
But it does add up quickly, but it is just the general penalty. So the question for you as we go through these and you're looking at these penalties, is $500 accurate? Is it excessive? Should it be $250? Should it be $1.50? There you go. This is, as we go through these, you're looking at kind of this format and how do you believe these should be listed?
So,
Request.
go ahead. No,
Oh.
go for it.
Thank you. So in past discussions, we've talked about how the judge has the right to lower the penalty, right? Or is that something different from this? Like they can, not the penalty, but they can decide in court, actually, even though the general penalty in this particular situation would normally be 500, I'm only going to fine you 300. in this.
Right, or if you resolve this immediately,
Hmm.
if you can resolve this, when do you think you can get those weeds cut?
Right.
Your Honor, I can get them cut tomorrow.
Well, it's like we talked about
Fine.
with the inn up the
Let me
hill.
drop
Like
it.
Right.
we weren't looking to collect the money. We
Right.
wanted him to comply
Right,
and he just refused to comply.
right. So in this case, and this also asks a separate question because as we'll see, some of these in here, actually, our ordinances actually have the council, in at least one case,
Mhm.
is the judge, jury, and executioner. Now, I think this ordinance goes way back before we had a municipal court judge. So the question also is, does the council want to be in that position
Nope.
of
No.
assigning and
No.
judging on fines, or do you want all of these to go to the municipal court?
That's why we pay the judge the big bucks.
And that's why we-
I wholeheartedly concur, but that's your decision. The second part to Counselor Linder's part is yes, the judge does have discretion on how to do that. If that is the case, we might want to look at severity
Mhm.
like the state does and with a maximum and minimum
Mhm.
fine so that the judge has some guidelines to
Right.
work with.
Yeah.
Our judge is typically one that wants compliance because that's what we have told him
Mhm.
to do. If he's sentencing a deputy's traffic citation, that's different. He has to go by what I'm showing you on the screen here. That we have, this is the minimums we're showing right now, but he can't go any lower than the minimums. But he also has a lot of discretion to say, you know what? Can you go to the DMV and get your license in the next X many months? Yes or no? Or can you stay clean? No traffic violations for the next year. And the young lady says, I can do that. He says, if you don't, it's gonna be double.
Mhm.
Says, I could do it. She won't, but be that as it may, she already has 6 of them, so.
Jeez.
Goal in general with, the goal is to have people follow the law. I mean, it's not to milk people for everything they got. That's just the penalty if you continue doing what you're doing.
And as you see in most of this, there's letters that go out. I mean, with the exception of traffic stops and that type of thing, which a deputy would do. If we're talking weed ordinances and all those, the city sends out a letter. Then we wait and we try to get compliance. And then we talk to them, and then we send them another letter saying, if you don't get this done by X time, then they get a notice. In some cases, the council's the one that has to decide whether to penalize them or not me. I just send the letters. If you decide you are gonna penalize them, then they get the penalty. If they don't pay, then they go to court. And, it can take a very long time, even for someone cutting their weeds, to do it. And in some cases, the city gets to abate it and put a lien on their house, right? In addition to the penalties. So that's the process. It's not something like we put a citation. Our system is not designed for a lot of these ordinances for us to put a citation on the door and have you in municipal court.
Yeah.
They could, but that's not how any of these were written.
That seems like it would be atypical for a town this size anyway, right? Like there's a lot of management or administration involved with that, or is it not too bad?
I will say in Corvallis, you'll get a citation and you'll end up in municipal court. That they don't really mess around with you a lot because it's costly what I just described is very costly in terms of city time. It is probably the better thing to do if you have a town of 200 or 300 people and everyone knows each other.
Right.
It's probably best to try and do that, but you have to waste staff time against making sure that happens. And as I've pointed out, and LOC and our attorneys have pointed out, if you're going to do one, you need to do everyone. It's not like you can just pick and choose who you want to, because then that's arbitrary and capricious and you get into trouble. So, I'm not necessarily tonight, these are penalties and they're designed really to say, please mow your lawn, because if you don't, you're going to get X amount of dollars. But we work with everybody for a long time before that. We've never fined anybody. Everyone's always mowed their lawn sooner or later.
So so it says, that we got to define the severity, and I know up there they have those. Can you show an example of what it, like, how do you define a class A versus a B or a C or a D?
Well, if we're talking,
Is that determined by the judge or is it determined?
No, it's determined by you.
earlier in the discussion, we said that this is what we use mostly. We don't use this. This is more of a-
None of our ordinances currently use severity.
So this is like totally not in the
Oh, okay.
discussion unless you want to bring it in.
Oh, okay.
All
I
of
mean,
these are options.
The
Yeah,
number of
yeah.
offenses would be good because it's pretty mild for,
Yeah.
the first.
But that's not necessarily totally true, because if it started at 500, it wouldn't end at 250.
Well, again, if you were looking at this from the viewpoint of a class A being the worst, which is how the state of Oregon does it, then it should be the most money.
No, I mean, even the escalating, based on number of
Offenses.
offenses.
Yeah, typically it goes way up. If you want to look at the traffic offenses, you will see that the first offense might be $50, the second one, 100, the third one, 800.
Yeah, because this is
Yeah.
The last one, 1250.
this is just a sample scale, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a sample scale.
Right. So, I mean, if we want to go class A and flip it like the state, if we went that way with severity, I would say flip it like the state. But the thing is, then we have to define the severity. And either we adopt 100% the state rules or come up with our own severities.
Well, and for a lot of things, the state doesn't have things on weeds, for instance.
Okay, so there you go. So, I mean,
So you, in other words, this, again, what.
Well, because the state leaves it up to cities to decide what,
Yeah, for
what
our
they want
local
to do for.
things, right?
Yeah.
For junked vehicles, a lot of our ordinances do not have a counterpart in the state law necessarily. But some do, and those that do, we have adopted those in here by statute, and I've listed those there. This first one is just a general penalty. This is just the catch-all for everything in the world. And is it up to $500? Is it a first, second, third, fourth offense? Is it per, it already says per day. So in this case, you're gonna get fined up to $500 and then a dollar amount per day, probably the same penalty, but it's gonna be up to council to make that decision.
And if you did it based on number of offenses, they just would cite them and then when they go to court, it gets determined like, oh, we see that you've been in here a few times.
In those instances, in this instance, this would not be anything to do with the law enforcement would not be doing. This would be purely council
Okay.
on 10.
Okay, cool.
Council would be the only
Oh,
ones that.
Just
that-
on
Yeah, on
1099.
10. Yeah, we're not talking about the rest. I'm gonna go one by one here. so we don't
Okay,
get
got it.
ourselves
Sorry.
Terribly confused.
Getting ahead of.
So 10 is up to you folks. And it can be up to $500, no more. And it's up to the council to decide what the dollar amount is.
500 seems reasonable to me, knowing that it can be dropped.
It could be
To me,
nothing,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, the not to exceed keeps it from going.
keeps a cap at least.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This one is completely under your control. There's no, law enforcement would not be involved in this.
And the part C of this really doesn't say we have to charge the same amount each time.
Or at all.
Yeah.
That's an interesting, it just goes on record as you violated again.
The council has found that you have done X and we're finding you X. And for every day that you decide you're not going to be in compliance, X. And that becomes part of the council record and that's enforceable in municipal court. But it's completely up to you.
I like it.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of latitude. Again, this is for those general things. We'll see here, I think on the next page, you flip over to the back side of this one.
31.
That's this one. Okay, this is,
STC.
yeah, SDCs.
Yeah.
All right. So this one is, SDCs has one, it's called prohibited connections. This is when we put a house in, someone builds a house and decides they're gonna connect their water to our system without paying charges, letting us know or anything. All of a sudden we realize you're living in there and where are you getting your water from? And it's like, no, you can't put your own meter in.
Mhm.
Okay, so at this point, they're in violation of 31.47. And so there is a penalty for 1099. That's your general penalty. However, in this case, it also says 31.47 constitutes a violation is punishable by a fine not to exceed $500 a day.
It's kind of redundant, right? It's the same amount anyway, but it's also referencing 1099s.
In this case, 1099 is for other provisions in this code. And I can't really find anything in there. This is just I think cover your rear end addition to this. We modeled this after the LOC's template for SDCs.
Okay.
And there is a provision for general provision, and most of SDCs are going to be, if no one pays it or someone doesn't do what they're supposed to do, then there's a penalty. Example might be, you come into a contract. Okay, we allow people to pay their SDCs biennially. Okay, they have to pay at least $1,200, $1,254 every 6 months. Now, let's say they decide not to do that. There's two things are going to happen. One, they are subject to a penalty. Okay. The second part of that is that they get a lien against their home, and that's in the provision. So that would be a case in SDCs where the general penalty may apply. 3.47 is a little bit more egregious. Okay, and that's why it's not to exceed $500 per day. So the other one might be just a one-time penalty because you haven't paid your SDCs for the last year, 2 years or whatever, and the council had to get involved. The second one is we discovered that you are tapping in and utilizing our water, and you could be charged up to $500 per day until you get your SDCs paid and all that. So that's the difference. That one, that would be really egregious if someone were stealing city water without.
And I want to ask a question on this because I know there's a few places that tried this earlier. Prohibited connection, in my opinion, if they paid the SDCs, connected with a meter, and then connected their well to that water line without the appropriate.
That would be, I don't have it, that's under section, that's
That's a
under
different
section, chapter 5
Okay,
or title 5, chapter 50, water, 51 water.
Okay, so it is,
Those are backflow connections.
all right,
Uh,
because I know that there has been people that built down an area that,
Well, there might be state,
We are required 50, 50
there might be
and
state
51
penalties for that as well.
50 and 51 are under revision right now. They do have 50 and 51 govern our sewer and water. They're very extensive, but they're a mishmash, they're out of date. We need to comply with state and federal law on those. And one of them is backflow connections. And the state of Oregon is really strict on backflow connections, and we have to mirror that. So, but those two under revision, those are not in your packet this evening.
Okay, good.
This is just for SDCs. So the first one is what happens if you don't pay your installment plan? That's the most pertinent example I can think of.
that's
The
a good
second one
example.
is the egregious one. You're stealing our water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that helps me understand the difference between the two and why they're in the same.
Right, in the same
Page.
thing. One is, the first one would be, it's a problem. City Hall can't get compliance. We come to city council. What do you want to do about it? You say, okay, send them a fine. They can, in that case, they can come to city council and plead their case. Okay, there is a provision in there for that. I didn't list it because I'm just trying to give you an overview, not the
Right.
details. So they would get a chance for redress in that case, in the first one. The second one, you're gonna get fined because you are stealing water.
Yeah. Did the situation up the hill ever get resolved? Or not resolved, but is that
It
still?
continues on this little merry way. And so at some point here, I was hoping it would get sold. If it does, the piper will have to be paid. If it doesn't get sold, the city council will need to make a decision with the dollar amount available, whether you wish to foreclose on the house. In which case, the house would go up for sale on like a sheriff's sale, so to speak, for at least 75% of its assessed value. No less than that.
All he
And
has to do
then
is
whatever
come to the people.
money is received from that will go to pay the city's liens. And the city can decide at that point how much it really wants to charge on it. At that, the council kit does that.
I was hopeful the paperwork had been filed.
I was really hopeful that it would just be resolved,
Yeah,
but we're
But there is, the lien is done and all that stuff. So it's in place. And now if they do a title, then
it's on there.
it's on there.
It is.
wow. Saw that it was under contract.
And I'm
last
getting a
week.
lot of questions on it, like, will the city work with us if we buy it? And I say, yes, we will. But
But it shouldn't be on,
The buyer.
no, it's not. It's on.
It's on the
what they
seller.
want. It's on the seller, but they're just trying to
Right.
figure out if they're trying to get a sale and get this thing going, because what they really want is to use some of the money to make repairs on it. So that anyway, it's.
Yeah.
And so that's chapter 31. That's an example of the general penalty and other that. And then we have chapter 32, which is quite interesting. You'll notice down at the bottom, we also have a very similar thing where the penalty for the first part with claims processing is actually very, very long. And so claims processing is when someone makes a claim against the city. Okay, the tree fell on my city tree fell on my fence, and I'm putting a claim in for $2,683.43 for repairs. We would process, there's a big thing for processing those claims, and then we of course send it into our insurance company and all that. What's also in there is ex parte and other what happens if the mayor or the city administrator decide they're going to make a claim? Big section on that. But that also has affidavits that what we're saying and doing is accurate. So if it isn't, and fraud has been committed, then you have a penalty associated with that. So that's what that first penalty is the 10.99 penalty. The general penalty comes up if there's some kind of fraud, and it's particularly if someone has made a false claim, or someone has some sort of connection to that claim. That fence might have been I partly own that property, but I
Mhm.
haven't disclosed it.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
so that's what that first penalty would apply to. And I think,
Fun.
again, that is the 1099. The
Mhm.
second one is, and I had listed it this year probably verbatim, which is kind of interesting, is the smoking one. Again, tonight, we were not to, the intent wasn't to dissect any of our ordinances. But we have some, basically where smoking is prohibited is basically any city property in town, which doesn't seem enforceable to me.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line on this one, this is also subject to penalties up to $500. This would have to go to council. It would be nice if we just had the same kind of rules that the state of Oregon has, which is basically within X many feet of the building. I remember when this was going in and the people that were doing it, and for some reason, at the time, it was marijuana, smoking.
I seem to remember this now.
Remember
Yeah.
that? Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when that particular mayor and regime were in,
Mhm. Yeah.
there was a huge issue
There was.
over smoking, vaping, all these kids doing weird things.
Mhm.
And so you can see if you just look at the smoking regulations, it's not that I'm a smoker or advocate for it, because I don't. It's actually disgusting to me, but
It's so specific.
it is,
Like
it is way
every
too
single form of
specific.
tobacco.
Yeah.
And is this saying,
Open space, and then it says it does not include designated parking areas. It's like,
right?
I know.
Yeah, how about
Yeah,
streets? How
very.
does that, can somebody walk down the street smoking or no?
So my recommendation
to.
to you is
Right.
We could just nix
leave it the way it
this.
is right now, but we need to come back and revisit this.
no
Well-
smoking period ever.
Well, I think the easy thing to do would be to just nix it and then adopt a smoking regulation that just matches the
The state?
state.
And then maybe base it on number of offenses
Should be able to
rather than a
smoke in the
dollar
street According
amount.
to this, the way I read it.
Can't be in a crowd of.
Right,
Versus
you know,
it's managed
right,
parks
you
and
can't be
recreational
indoors, you
facilities,
can't
and those
be-
things include
you
things.
can't
like
be outside
parks,
city
trails, open
halls,
space, and
sitting on the
special use
bench smoking
Is
Isn't a street an open
easily
space?
enforceable by the
Uh,
sheriffs.
It's an open
easily.
And so we're
space,
not
but only in the
creating
context of a managed park and
additional,
recreational facility.
Yeah.
strain on
You know,
them and.
I think I know what I don't remember being on the council when this was put in.
If it open spaces,
But
including
There was a
parks and
problem with that
recreational
bus stop that they
facilities,
put outside
then that would
Okay,
include the road.
and they were smoking in that.
Oh, okay.
that makes sense. Right now, we had a couple
Ah,
people wanting
okay.
to sit down on our little bench outside City Hall, but we put
Oh, so
no
this
smoking up and
Yeah.
that
looks like
stopped it.
streets themselves
But,
are allowable, but.
But yeah, I
everything
mean, I think if
aligned,
we
like,
just
next to the streets are
match
not,
what the,
like
the
sidewalks.
state regulations are and then put the,
Just
you
within
know,
20 feet of.
the
an
number of
building.
offenses.
Even the hospital, there's no smoking on the grounds wherever, but most other buildings I see is like 20 feet or 10
Right.
feet from the.
And that's really a 15, 20,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just say follow the state guidelines and put
Yeah,
a
bullet point
first
3 really
offense,
should be
second
part of
offense, third
bullet point
offense
number
thing on
2,
it.
not a separate bullet.
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, you-
But rewrite it
Because
with
separate
that,
bullet
with
point to
that
me
in
makes that-
mind.
It is
Not
to enforce
enforceable.
something when you say not on any public grounds whatsoever.
I'm looking at this saying, well, it's not enforceable.
I mean, you see cigarettes along Riverbend's property all the time and they're.
Right. Oh, and people down at Dairy Mart, and
Dairy
everywhere
Mart,
else. I
yeah.
mean, they're coming across the street smoking.
Right.
They put it out before they go inside Dairy Mart, but it's on our city sidewalk. I mean,
Mhm.
no, that's littering and no, they shouldn't do that. But on the other hand, we could probably make a lot of money sitting out there, writing citations if we
And
wanted
also
to.
poor use of Benton
But
County
that
Sheriff
poor
time.
use of time of everybody. So,
Like a smoking. I don't know if we have any, I haven't seen any around town, but they have those things where they can put their cigarette in.
we might want to approach Dairy Mart with that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or even Long Timber.
Long timber people that have things outside, a lot of folks do,
Yep.
and just encourage people to put their butts in the
Yeah.
the thing there, but to make this,
Mhm.
and then away from city property.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think this really did get very specific, and in laws, whenever that happens, you basically almost guaranteed that it's not enforceable.
Yeah.
You have to wonder what was happening at the time.
I remember that people were absolutely,
Worked
I
up.
mean, they were worked up.
At Twitter,
Yeah,
yes.
they really were. So anyway, that's 32.
Okay.
Interesting.
Running into traffic while wearing a blue tutu and hula hooping, like what?
And singing,
Very
and
specific.
singing a
Dancing on the
song, and yes, oh, yes.
All right, chapter 70 is our title 70, but the title 7, chapter 70 is our traffic code. And here's where you start seeing where we have adopted state traffic laws. And so it says ORS chapters 153, which is the violations and fines, which is what I have up here on the screen is
Mhm.
153. We've adopted this for traffic fines. And you can see we've also adopted 801 through 823, and I've given, you can see which is basically what Benton County or any law enforcement is going to cite. They're going to cite you something from 801 to 823 if they're here in Monroe. So, whether it's lights, too heavy, your card's not right, you don't have financial responsibility, you don't have your insurance card, your title's not right, you're going to be charged underneath one of these. What we have said is that we adopt these, and in effect, this section shall be, if you violate one of these, it is also offense against the city. So down to penalties. Okay, so violation of this title is punishable by a fine not to exceed $500. Violation of any provision of this title which incorporates a state statute, which is a misdemeanor, is punishable by a fine not to exceed $1,000. The penalty for a violation of provision of this title which incorporates a state statute, which is a violation, shall be identical to the penalties in those statutes. So this answers part of the question. What happens if you get a $225 Class A violation? We're going to charge you the city's going to also charge you $225 on top of that. That's basically what it's saying. So if you come into town and violate your 20-mile-an-hour speed limit going up Commercial Street, or in this case, Main Street, and the county Deputy Savage comes and Deputy Bressler pulls you over, cites you, you'll be cited to municipal court, and municipal court's the fine's going to be $450.
Okay.
If it were at 225 or whatever it would be, whatever the presumptive fine would be double, and then the judge would then reduce that accordingly as a total, not as individual pieces.
Okay.
For 7104, the bicycles, roller skates, and skateboards.
Yes,
There's not is designated business district. Is that just? I mean, we don't really have like a specific we have our land use code has.
it says our Riverside district is, and the commercial zone is our business district.
Okay,
So it would be whatever
just
is.
curious
it would-
how they define that, because
It would be the Riverside District overlay, because our codes do define that as our business
Okay.
district. So it's the commercial properties.
I see I'm violating 7101.
yep, you're crossing that private property onto
Up to
public.
this point anyway.
Up to this point, yeah. Well, I had a, easement anyway from the previous owners. And that would be eminent domain, not
The
eminent
domain, there you go.
or adverse possession.
Yeah,
Adverse, yeah.
it's no issue.
If you read that, I am. I understand where it's coming from, because I've seen people, the street ends and there's another street and there's a field there, and that's what. they
Oh,
do.
especially where some of these streets are not,
Yeah, and they drive right through
they're
it.
not
Right.
connected.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's just like, honestly, if you're trying to drive up Sixth Street from my house, you're kind of violating the same thing, because it's not developed. It's just grass.
Grass.
Right.
Well, when Oaks gets his thing, part of the condition of use was to carve out a railroad driveway access going down, and that was done the other night. So as I said, at this point, you're okay. You're no longer violating the
Good.
7101.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I still need to visit with you about if he buys the right of way, it cuts across where I cross through, so.
Well, yeah, and if he does that, then that would be subject to council carving. And,
Well, I
and,
can't-
and what I'm looking at is, no, it would not. We would allow it only up to a certain point, and then the rest of it would have to be dedicated as public access.
Well, I would buy the section in front of me and punch my new driveway if I had.
There
to.
you go. And I think there's lots of options, but we're not,
Yeah.
gonna we're not gonna let you be landlocked by any
You know,
means.
it's just like, you know, a tree falling on the fence. I had a city tree fall on the fence and I fixed the fence and I never thought about suing the city. It's like,
People are litigious. They're-
well, I even had a city mower put a hole in my wall in my house.
Oh,
Yeah, and we've had our city mower put holes in fences, so
But it was in my house. You know what the city manager and the city mayor said?
pound sand.
Yeah, we didn't hear it.
That wasn't me, by the way.
No, it wasn't. It was 3 mayors ago, 3 or 4 mayors ago, please. So,
Those are exciting days. We also had naked people going down the street yelling and with a person in a wheelchair following behind them.
really?
And
yes.
and the mayor looking up at the time from the desk and I'm going, did what? He says, didn't even look up from the keyboard. That happens all
Was
the
that the
time.
neighbor right next door? Right one? Oh, the other one.
Freeman.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
Frank?
That was Jody.
Well,
Jody, the young lady,
Oh,
not
I mean
Jody.
the
Connor.
mayor.
Frank there.
Yeah, it was Frank.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Frank, I was helping Frank with the accounting system.
Right.
And I'm looking at summertime and I'm looking up and I'm like,
Jody was,
but all the time, he doesn't even look up from his keyboard. He's, oh yeah, that happens all the time.
I don't know how she got into Junction City, but
The specific
she was
law for that.
hitchhiking on Junction City
Right.
drunk as a skunk. And she put her thumb out and a car went by and she spun and went down. I thought she got hit. So I like flashers, stopped. No, she was just so drunk, she fell down. So
That
I
happens.
gave her a ride. And it was like, you got money, got you all the way here. And it's like, roll down the window. It's like, because you know, the smell. And,
So-
she lived right there.
71, we have 71 and 72. 72 is new code. This is what we adopted for our parking regulations.
This is the one we did earlier.
You're earlier, right?
Yeah.
71 is the one crossing private, damaging sidewalks or curbs, use of bicycle, roller skates and skateboards. 71 and 72, you know, we did some things down here saying any violation is chapter is subject to citation, fine for each violation. Fines may be imposed for each day of violation. Parking fines will be established by council resolution and reviewed annually. So that's where we stand right now. This one is actually, I think, a good one for based on the number of offenses. I think we discussed that at length on the parking. And I think we decided that the first fine should be, you know, more like a $25 fine, escalating the more it went. That was kind of the feeling that during the discussion. And the same with 71. Again, these are not in state statute. These are things that we carved out from the state and made these our own rather than, you know, the,
Mhm.
so so based on the number of offenses, one of the things that we need to kind of, and this could also be severity too, for that matter. It could also be based upon, you know, you could go through each one of these and say, you know, if you're parking with your wheels not cocked in the right direction is a class E, $25, you know, a minimum $50 presumptive fine, no less than $25, not more than 100.
Was that on the hills only or?
Yes, anything on a 3% incline.
Sit on
I
a grade,
believe.
yeah.
Great.
And the only thing I see that, and I know this is just kind of a synopsis, but 18 inches of curb, and we got a lot of them that have no curbs.
I think it's
Is there
within 18 inches of the curb, if no markings are present, and it has to be in general compliance. Again, there's more to that section. This is not the code.
It's not the code. That's what I
It's not
thought.
the
It was just a
code.
synopsis. Okay.
I'm just giving you a synopsis of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I had a question about the vehicle impoundment. If you have more than $500 or citations, how would we deal with that? Do we have some sort, or would we contract with the
Which,
impoundment? Do we? If we
yeah,
were to do
actually,
that?
Actually, we would.
Are
We
there
would.
tow yards?
Yeah,
and
we
stuff
would,
that you could-
we would contact, I think, Junction City Tow, BNR Towing, there's several of them out there, and they actually have impound areas.
Okay,
Yeah, they really do.
I just know we don't, like some cities have because, they have enough parking issues where they have their own, impound lot and manage it, but that's obviously not us.
No, it is not. And
Park policy sends everything to BNR.
yeah,
Oh,
BNR
okay.
does
Yeah.
their towing. They contract with us several different, down here, Junction City, we had an issue, Janine Cook had an issue with that mobile.
That was an RV or
An
something?
RV,
Yeah.
and it was abandoned, or someone was living in it and they needed to get them out of there.
You don't have a certain amount of time and,
And because otherwise they could be there permanently.
right.
What they found is under these tow agencies and under law, it's $500 to get it towed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, just to get it out of your area.
Especially if it's those bigger vehicles, it probably takes a specialized truck.
It does, and the state
Yeah.
laws are very, very, very tight on this, as you know, what you can and cannot
So
do.
if they
So,
sit there for so long, they can claim.
yes, they can.
residence?
Mhm. Is it
That's-
like
30,
that's
water
what-
rights.
30
we are
days?
always on top of that. in
It's
this
only
town.
30 days?
is it 30 days, Steve?
30 days.
Yeah.
And so we are, when we see that in around town, it is an immediate red flag, and we're on it.
So if someone's sitting over my house in Gilchrist for 30 days, they can claim it.
Yep. They could say that they can't claim it, they can't claim the property, but they can say, you can't move me off of here.
Yeah, I can.
Yes, you can.
There'll be ways to
They
do
can
it.
claim that.
Anyway.
How you
So-
do your business is how you do your business. We
You
don't
do
wanna know.
you, we'll stay over here.
No, you go over there and I'm gonna play music at 5 o'clock in the morning.
But yeah, I was just curious if that's something we can just contract out or something.
And we would not do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
would.
like, we don't really have a place to do this, so it's.
No.
Right.
And
Park it behind City
and
Hall.
not only
and the-
that, but if we damaged it or anything else, we're liable.
Yeah, we-
Too, yeah.
So no, even though Mark would love to do that, he will not.
Yeah.
He wants to scuba, he wants to tow things.
He loves towing things.
Well, it might be handy for us, for our own equipment. but-
Oh, and he does, and I'm very,
Yeah.
and Chuck is he's a CDL. He's a heavy equipment guy, so. I've got truck drivers now,
That's awesome.
but not to do this work. So this one, I don't know, at the moment, we really don't have anything. I think parking fines should probably be on a sliding on a.
Yeah, I think the number of
per offense scale.
offenses,
Yeah.
because the first one is a slap on the wrist, like, hey, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to park this way or do that, and then, after that, it's like you knew better.
Yeah.
Thought on the parking rules. I just think they should be almost like what I put down here, $25 to $250. But the first offense is,
Would it be a sliding scale within a certain time period? Do we need to define that? Like
in this case, it's not. So if
Yeah.
you decide to come tomorrow and do the same thing, we're gonna charge you $50. And the next day, up to
Well,
$250.
what I mean, if-
What about 6 months from?
6 months from now is your second violation. Are we gonna count it as a second or first?
Under how we have had it, the answer is yes.
Okay, so it's unlimited.
Right. So if you come back 2 years from now and do it, and we still have our records saying you did it,
Mhm.
should. With Dawn up there, yes, I would say that she's gonna find your record.
Your record.
In the past, I would say probably not, but
Mm.
Dawn would. She has a good system. But yes, so you could say number of offenses, within the first.
No, it's fine the way it is. I just want to make sure, do we have to define it or not?
We could, but you don't have to.
Okay.
And the city of Corvallis has different penalties based on the zones too. We don't
Yes.
want to deal with that, right? We are so small that
Yeah,
At
that
this
sounds
point,
complicated.
yeah, I've seen there's some way they're complicated.
they're super complicated. Like downtown by Central Park area, it was like 15 when I was a college student, then it went up to 30 and it's 40 if you're over by Interzone. It's like,
And then
maybe
you
it's
have
60
to
by
park yourself on block faces, and it's like Portland.
Yeah.
But I can understand the downtown. That was,
yeah.
they had big committees for a couple years trying to figure that out.
Wow.
Some places
Okay.
I can't even park my pickup because it's too long. By code, you can't park.
right? You have to fit within
Yeah.
or you can extend beyond
Yeah.
or whatever. So this one, we'll base it on the number of offenses then.
Yeah, and I like this. I mean, on the number of fences thing, I mean, we would put this as the minimum for the first.
Okay,
Or I don't know what other people think, but like,
But say it
Oh,
again.
when you say, is
What the
it
value
just
is,
flat?
minimum, and then.
Well, no, I'm saying, is it just gonna be a flat fee or are we gonna put $25 minimum and it gives
And
the,
then percentage to go up every
and
time.
it, well, or it gives the.
it does. So the
Leeway
first
to-
offense, second, third, fourth, so it's gonna go up. The second part is the fines may be imposed for each day of violation. So
Oh.
there's a second part. You're parked there and you're not moving.
Okay.
Okay, so now we can impose more than that.
Mhm.
And then these fines will be established by council resolution, which of course is what we're doing now.
Cause I mean, I mean, this scale is fine. I mean, I think if we did a fifth and more, that was $500.
There we go. You can do that as well because, I mean,
$500
It's a nice, you
a
know,
day or
round number.
violation, but I think, yeah, if they're getting,
at this point,
You
if you're
kinda
getting
have
up
to-
to that point, you are
You kinda have
in
to-
Monroe. I mean, this is,
Yeah.
something is not quite, you're flaunting the system is what
Yeah.
you're doing.
And
You're
so-
not, because that's just
Yeah.
not an issue at this point. But it may be. We get a nice healthy downtown core, which is what everyone wants, and I hope happens. We could have a massive traffic jam, which is another ad hoc committee. But that would be great if we did.
Yeah.
So,
but I think
All
if we
right.
did, yeah, 5 or more, $500.
so the next chapter is chapter 90. Ooh, abandoned vehicles. Uh, This one is also far longer than the 3 pages I have here. But in essence, abandoned vehicles are defined as anything as an operative, wrecked, dismantled, partially dismantled, abandoned, and or junked. Okay, including major parts thereof. So if you have the rear axle of something, it's an abandoned vehicle. All right, so in this ordinance, council has already declared all this to be a public nuisance and gave you all the reasons why at the time the council figured these were in fact a nuisance. So they went on. So essentially, the prohibited action for this is it shall be unlawful to store or permit the storing of a discarded vehicle per the definition up here on any private property within the city unless the vehicle is completely, I highlight, this is emphasis added, I should have added in brackets, completely enclosed within a building or unless it is connection with a business enterprise dealing in junk vehicles lawfully conducted in the city. We don't have that. So in this case, completely enclosed. I know that one counselor at one time got permission to put a cover over their vehicles instead. That would be there.
Yep,
Uh,
and mine are gone.
And
Mhm.
but at the time you'll go up there, you'll notice that most everything is under something or covered up, but that was what council at that time gave that individual. Rather than build a garage for it, they told them you have to cover it. In most cities, it is something that it has to be covered or something of that nature, not necessarily in a closed building. I highlight it in bold only because I think that probably should be visited. But we do have a few places around town that do have junk vehicles, or vehicles that just simply, I know they're junk because the grass is now growing up underneath their
Mhm.
running boards and it has
Yeah.
been for a few years now.
Yeah.
So,
And I forget, how does the fire station's lot relate to this? Because it is an eyesore seeing 3
it
crappy
is,
vehicles,
and
just- or
what,
parked vehicles.
if we can ever get the state of Oregon DEQ to release the transfer station
Yeah,
property for
They
that
could do their
secondary
training over there.
use,
Yeah.
they would be more than happy to take it over there. Now, in that case, what the city should tell the fire department is if we can't do that, then they need to fence it with a privacy screen
okay.
of some sort. They
Well,
need
out
to,
there.
yeah, they need to fence it.
Yeah, I thought at one time that was all in the makings and it was all
Yeah,
almost set deal.
Chief Smith retired and it didn't happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, okay.
So when Rick retired,
Yeah, when Rick retired, it was discussed, then we talked to Rick about it and he says, I'm not doing anything. And then he retired, kind of in that order.
Okay,
Well, unless we say it's a parked vehicle and therefore exempt because it's an emergency vehicle performing an official duty in accordance with
Right.
exemption 8, section 72.35 of the previous section.
So in this case, the biggest issue with that is that they, and this is what we brought up, is that the wrecked vehicles, the ones that they bring in from the junkyard to do their stuff, incredibly important training. They need to do it.
Mhm.
If we cannot provide an alternative for them, then the city should say, okay, yes, by all means, but you need to fence it in. So it's not an attractive nuisance to kids who want to come
That's
by and
right.
play in the
Right.
cars.
that's right.
Right.
yeah, I would think they would want to fence it anyway, because it would be, if it's open, then it's a liability.
Huge liability to them.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's a liability to us if we don't say something.
I think I know a few people on the fire board. I can mention it to them.
What was the last word from, on the, I mean, yeah, I think they were still sorting out even who controls what over on that transfer station, right?
Yes, over on the DEQ side, yes, we're trying to sort out, the DEQ says it's a transfer station.
Right.
And so at the moment, they've said they're not releasing it for any other purpose. So
Okay.
that's kind of the,
Transferring Old vehicles over there.
yeah, I'm transferring. And so I think
Transfer the
what
fire
happened was
station
my
traffic.
initial request was kind of a bit misinterpreted. I wasn't saying not to use it as a transfer station. I'm saying, can we?
We're not looking to develop it into
What
some.
we have a lot of extra room around there. Can it be used for this purpose? And I need to, I think I need to come back and restate it. Because I am very interested in getting it all over there.
Yeah,
And they are too, and Chief Barnes is as
Yeah.
well.
yeah, he seemed like he was a
Oh,
proponent of it.
he asked me about,
Well, they could do a lot more over there with training than they could
Yeah.
here in that city lot.
Right.
Yeah, if we get
Room over there.
It's much more room for activities.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
release of that, I know they wanted to build a tower.
they do, they want to do, yeah, they want to get a tower, they want to, there's,
You know, we got a few tall buildings.
we do, and they need to be able to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so anyway, it's in progress, but I really would like that is a, I have Mark's also on their finance thing, so we're talking.
Okay, okay, good.
Let's see, we have all sorts of, let's see, entry, hearing. This is the one where if we have to do any removal of wrecked vehicles, you can see that we have to have there has to be a hearing. So basically it starts with the chief of police, which I believe in our first ordinance meeting, we decided that would be the city administrator. We changed that to city administrator along with city recorder.
Mhm.
But essentially what happens is that we'll have to create a docket for city council to review complaints that come in. So at that point, you have to make a decision. And then we have to send the people notice that they need to come to city council and plead their case. If we have to abate it, you can see there's abatement for this. If it's, then we have to determine, appraise it. It has to be appraised by a third-party appraiser. If it's low value, then there is a process. If it's a higher value, then we have a notice of sale. I highlighted the published in the newspaper because we really don't have a newspaper. We may want to consider online publication or something
Mhm.
else with that.
Would we do the Tri-County News?
I would have to, yes, because that's the only thing we can do. That's a public, and that's what we do use, by the
Either
way.
that or the Sentinel or something.
Sun Sentinel and
There's just not,
Not
there's
much
not a
around.
whole
not
lot.
a lot of people read it. People do
World
not
Weekly
read the
News.
Corvallis Gazette
No, we don't
Times.
do that one anymore.
I've found
If
that
only.
out. Then we have a public sale, then the person has an option to redeem it, and a lot of this is state law regardless. And then we assess costs. If the sale doesn't meet all the costs that we have put in, there's more cost me just reading this than there is probably in the value of some of the stuff.
When
I've
they
seen.
put $300, I'm like, you probably could get any car, send it to the junkyard for 300 bucks.
$300, and then,
Just the way values have gone up. on stuff.
right,
Yeah.
so then, at that
We
point,
just scrap value. Yeah.
At that point, we give them the cost. We say, okay, we got $300 for your car and it costs us $1,842.33 to abate the darn thing. So you get the difference. And then we put a lien against their home and along with a fine not to exceed $500. Each day of violation of provision is chapter constitutes a separate offense. And the abatement of a nuisance is not a penalty for violating this chapter, but an additional remedy. So in other words, you have a penalty, a fine, which is usually to get you to remove your stuff. And then the abatement process, which is removing it. We're going to get a junkyard in here to remove all your stuff. It's going to cost the city something, which we're then going to,
Pass the cost.
pass on to you. And if you don't pay it, then it goes against your residents and that type of thing. So in this case, the penalty is not to exceed $500. And again, this is council. This is not law enforcement. This is purely, council, the way this is written. The city administrator is simply determining that there is a problem and then brings it to council for determination. Which is probably the right thing to do, given the fact that it is going to be costly for the city. And it's also going to be, how much do you want to give the individual some opportunity to remedy it on their own? Because that's really, in this case, what you want is for them to remedy it, not you. But you can also do anything. So in this case, it is $500 plus an additional offense, which is going to be whatever you might determine for each day of violation. So you might decide 200, okay, I'm sorry, but your fine's going to be, Steve, city administrator, please write a letter. The city council's imposed a fine of $250, an additional $50 per day until this is remedied. And, and then go by and then follow the process as outlined in the ordinance. So that's how it might work. You could also say $1, and particularly if it's a Corvette that's out there, and I don't know, you can, but it,
1964 T-bird. Copper windows.
actually,
It'd be a 57.
actually, we do have one house out there in the back that does have a really classic. It's junked, but I mean, it would.
There used to be can't remember what it was, had a garage down here, like I think where the RV spot is. Had all kinds of antiques in it.
I understand one of those buildings over there on the Wilbur Ellis has some very nice cars, but they're all locked up and under and have a keeper there watching them. So
Yeah, the truck guys
yeah,
have some nice cars.
yeah, they do. So again, I don't know. This one is completely up to council. It is up to not to exceed $500. And it is up to you how you wish to proceed. It would not be up to the only time this would go to the municipal court would be if we got to the point where no one's doing anything and the city has to
We have to do
impose,
the abatement.
we have to do the paperwork, the abatement, and then we also have to place a lien, in which case we would probably bring this up to the court and let the court.
And there's a lot of liability.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into this that you can't just do like a standard
No,
violation.
you cannot. No.
I mean, I've had to repossess when I started out of college, and there's a lot of legal stuff.
There is, and what I did not put in here is, because it goes on, it is very, very strict on how you enter property, permissions, warrants, all of
The whole
that.
works.
So, yeah,
And there's also the additional thing, sometimes people still owe on those cars. So you have a lien holder or
right.
Right.
So it does get complicated in these cases. If we were running into problems, we, at that point, would call Benton County and have a deputy escort us, with the appropriate court orders to do it, but we would not do it ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
'91, we get even better as we get into the '90s. So this is chapter 91 is animals. And 91 is very specific about animals and dog bites and vicious dogs and killing livestock.
Does this kind of falls state or not?
The killing livestock, yeah, is defined. They use ORS. That's actually now 609-125. I just found that out. So that needs to be changed. But livestock, 609-125 defines what livestock is. So it includes chickens, you know, and that's about the only thing in town that we can really.
That you
keep as
can
livestock,
have,
that
yeah,
you can
or by the land use.
have. Yeah, so that is.
Without
that
some
is-
sort of special request.
We did have a horse in town temporarily, but the owner said, oh, we didn't know that. It's only here for a week. And I said, that's fine. Have
So
fun.
what about dogs that are killing cats?
Cats aren't livestock.
Yeah, cats aren't
I
livestock.
know, but that's vicious, isn't
They
it?
don't deserve to live anyway. Sorry. I'm kidding. That's a joke. It's a
And
terrible joke. I
again,
just
a
don't like
dog
cats.
which has a propensity to attack or bite a person. And if it bites an animal, so no, going after other dogs or cats is not a violation. However, the noise could be.
Mhm.
Or if
trauma,
they're running at large, chasing
running at
things.
large, chasing. So if the dog is running at large or off a leash,
It's running at
then
large.
yes, it is now. So 9102, there is a definition. I felt that the title was probably, you know, dogs running at large prohibited,
Yeah.
was probably enough, and barking dogs are prohibited.
What-
Self-explanatory.
Dog is walking its owner as opposed to the other way.
Well, is the owner wearing the collar? I mean, that would be the defining.
That's funny.
And I'm trying to think if I've seen that before in town.
I have a question about the barking dogs one.
Mhm.
So I don't remember what the language was for this one in particular, but
Let's see if we can,
because our dogs bark, I've got 3 dogs at my house currently. And I don't know is it like a time limit? Like they're barking for more than 30 seconds at a time or 5 minutes at a time or a certain decibel? Like, how do we quantify that? Is it
oh
just
my,
a dog
our,
barks?
our,
I think it is more than just, you know, like when I come home, my dogs bark at me, but then they stop.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think they're like not allowed to
And the
bark.
other thing is,
That's just a natural thing. but-
yeah, if I have,
yeah,
and we've had predators come on
regulations.
2-legged and 4-legged.
yeah,
and
But
they'll bark at
usually
me.
it's when you like have people that are leaving them out and they're barking all night long and
yeah.
There's a neighbor over farther that way, north of me, about 2 blocks.
Yeah.
And I hear a dog, I don't know who it
it's
is,
just
but
all night
just
long, yeah.
bark.
Yeah.
Well, up here it says no person shall keep a dog on any premises in the city, which without provocation by a person
So
walking there's a by, thing.
they were provoked
shall, so in other words, that would be one of our previous public works people
Yeah,
who had every dog in town scream at
Oh my
him.
gosh.
but it says frequent and sustained.
Frequent and sustained howling or yelping disturb 2 or more persons
Ah.
separately domiciled in the immediate vicinity,
So 2 households.
Okay,
or if there's only one dwelling in the immediate vicinity of the premises, shall disturb the person or persons residing in such dwellings after have been notified personally
okay.
or by mail by the department, whatever that is, that the dog has been reported to disturb such person or
Barking
persons
dogs.
by such barking. I think that
Okay.
needs to be
It,
rewritten.
it might have been when
But-
we had a police,
By the department. So I'm gonna have to say that
the department.
The Department of Barking
the
Dogs.
Department of Barking Dogs.
My dogs like to bark when a dog goes
D-O-
past the house. That's why I asked.
Mine do too.
Yeah.
Okay.
DOBD, not to be confused with Doge.
I mean, my
The dog has
used
been
to
reported. So this would be a situation, and I have, in general, I've had complaints. People have written me and said chickens in
Mm,
particular
Yes.
are making a disturbance at 3 a.m.
Mhm.
Geez.
and have written to me specifically about it.
That's why I don't get roosters.
Or roosters, in this case rooster, in this case, a letter was written to the individual and the rooster was removed.
Yeah.
In the second instance, the chickens were on and I suggested to the individual who was filing the complaint again that do they have a light on in their hand, yeah, which they think it's time to lay eggs. And.
Or they
that's a
had
big-
one that was stuck.
Yeah, well, that I love it when chickens have a.
Yeah.
So much fun. They turn the light off and the person has not had an issue.
What do you know?
It helps having grown up with a mom who saw chickens everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, most people I know, like I know my dog, he'll bark at people and stuff, but like usually if he's barking out there, he needs to come in. I mean,
And that's what we do too. We have a deck and
it's not
our dogs.
It's not hard. And he's also an inside dog. So I mean,
It
it's not
doesn't
like,
say what the provocation has to be. It could just be somebody walking through.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That's
totally.
our case. They can hear a dog up the hill on the cul-de-sac
Though,
going the
'cause
other
he's
direction. It's like, what
half
are you
blind
barking
and
at?
mostly deaf.
Right.
Well, I have two collars. One's responds to the bark and the other one's manually controlled. And they know when the collars come out, they shut up.
Uh-huh. Sometimes we just show ours a spray bottle and they're like, oh,
We have a spray bottle,
We do
the
too.
can of air.
Collar likes to go crazy. They bite at it.
oh, I wish ours
But the
was
shock
that.
collar, I've had it on them and I put it full bore and they weren't minding and 80-pound dog. You ever see one do flips?
Our doggies, they go on the deck, they bark, they come back
I
inside.
didn't want to have to spank them or anything like that. You don't want to do anything with your hands.
No, they don't like that either. Because
And-
hands to them are mouths. So
Thing and all this that's on this 91.
this is a first offense, second, third, and I believe that is exactly how we have this.
This is how it's
This,
written
what
in
you
there.
see down there is exactly
Okay,
what you have
That's what I
right
was
now.
curious about was
So class A is the
So
first.
first
yeah.
offense, yeah, they actually have these, you can see the classes here on this. It's
Okay.
that's first offense, second, third, fourth.
This is weird though. I mean, killing a livestock, any person can kill the dog.
Mm-hmm. Like
That-
not even just a livestock owner.
Yeah, that's gonna set up a lot of problems, I think.
So again, I'm not saying that some of these, as you read through them, should not be revisited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that some of that, and I've grew up in the countryside and people use 22s and all that around my children. And it's like, what are you doing?
God.
I think, they say, well, I have a right to. Well,
Mhm.
okay, but the sheriff, Benton County Sheriff's had an exception to them for that, but
Mm.
no, you can't do that. You're
Yeah.
endangering.
Yeah.
But I think we're opening ourselves up to that because most people would kill a dog with a weapon.
Yeah,
And
because, well, there's some dogs you can't kill without a weapon.
With it, and yes. It's much better if you can to get law enforcement down and let them deal with it, but I understand that particularly if it's livestock, but we don't have chickens are what we have in town.
Yeah.
Or what about rabbits? Are rabbits considered livestock and do people raise them in town?
there are
Well, let's see
Well,
here.
rabbits
Oh,
are
that's
livestock,
okay.
though,
It's-
because they can be raised for food.
Right, that would
Meat,
be.
yeah, meat and fur.
I used to when I was out in Dorena.
Yeah, I raised
think
that one,
chickens only count
I
if they
raised
are
rabbits and recognized that a
in
few
enclosures.
rabbits can produce 600 rabbits in 3
I
months.
looked this up
And
once.
whites are pretty good
My
size.
ex-wife had a dog
feeders.
that
Yeah, they are.
Adopted
I
it,
had New
got
Zealand's
loose
and
the
a
very
few
first day
others,
she
but
walked it.
Uh,
Like literally was taking it home.
Wow.
Look, if you walk before you let you inside,
back
broke its
then I had,
leash.
Oh,
grandma
the one that you
would take my
adopted.
rabbit too,
Yeah.
and
Right.
Let
I
her
remember
raise
Yeah, I
that.
had three mares and
That was
about-
hers, not mine.
609, sorry.
Well,
They
they get probably 30.
you had a
I just
good-
want to
yeah,
say
it
I'm
was
sorry
good,
for my
good
cat
amount.
comment, by the way.
30
I want that on
40
record.
slaughters.
I don't hate cats. I just like dogs a lot more.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, about that.
Thanks.
They were pretty thin.
They deserve
And
to
then,
live, even though they're
um,
gross.
And then we would just, I would part them out and then.
But rabbits
vacuum
would,
seal.
any fur-bearing animal bred and maintained commercially or otherwise within pens, cages, and hutches.
So they do count.
They do count.
Okay.
So-
But I don't think anyone has rabbits as livestock in town.
What are the first two names there?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry, the livestock means, what are those first two words? Like,
Ooh, ratites.
and cytosine?
What the heck are those?
Cytosines.
There you go.
It's like emus and ostriches and.
Yeah, ostrich, emu, yeah, and kiwis. There we go.
Large flightless.
What's the other guy? The
Okay, so what's this one here?
Scenes.
I don't know what that is.
Well, let's,
It-
We've seen it before.
we're learning all sorts of things this
I think there's a
evening.
shampoo for
Oh,
that.
parrots, of course.
Livestock?
Weird.
There's a.
There is a guy that raises,
Cockatiels, gray parrots,
Macaws.
cockatoos, lovebirds and parrots.
lovebirds are cute.
I do not want your dogs after those.
Yeah. There's a guy in town who raises
I've seen them
messenger
without
pigeons or
feathers,
carrier
like they have
pigeons
also
and mails them at the,
feathers.
I don't know, if that's probably not livestock though.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I did, so.
It's not a cytosine or a redite, so I guess not.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't think that we specifically exclude.
I mean,
those two.
I'm sure there's some jackasses in town, so. But that would also be biting a human. No.
Right? Well, that was it. That was a very interesting.
That'd be a double
diversion there,
violation,
but
biting
there
a
you go.
human
So-
and a jackass at the same time.
So rabbits are part of the world here.
As long as it's in a pen cage or a hutch.
I think a fur bearing animal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they are. They supposedly greasy meat.
We ready for chapter 92?
All right, moving on to chapter 92.
Since we're having too much fun.
Having too much fun.
Yeah.
So chapter 92,
I guess, actually, I'd read, that means they all have to be in a pen
this
cage or
deals with,
hutch for that
with nuisances,
to count.
all sorts of nuisances. So the first one is the general nuisance.
Mhm.
Basically gives the council the power to declare anything it wants as a nuisance.
Huh, my children aren't on here. Huh, Already then.
But the council has, we have the authority to do that for you.
Excellent.
Our attorney has said that on a few occasions, over the few years, that yes, you can, it's just that you need to be, one, very careful about describing and explaining what the nuisance is, and that it is consistent with other actions and behavior, it just simply isn't listed. Okay, so that's the
So-
first one. Two, highly recommend that you, if you're considering doing that, to pass it by the attorney before you sit down at council.
So
However, it is open to absolutely anything the council wants. So this could be, for instance, in a house that is abandoned and the owner is not taking care of it, you can declare a nuisance and deal with it and
We'd have
dispose
to
of it
have some
accordingly.
objective,
Criteria to do so,
criteria, yeah.
right?
would bright lights shining in the sky looking for Nazi bombers?
But
Distracting one as they drove home
long-
counts.
As long as
just
if they
sent
are
videos.
keeping flying horses away, it's okay.
I feel like that's the nuisance.
Yes, as a matter of fact, you could.
Okay,
You could declare it as a nuisance. In this case, I understand there are deterrent to flying horses, so you'll have to make sure that,
There are what?
Deterrent to flying horses. So in other words, the
a
nuisance doesn't
deterrent to
have to be
flying
an animal,
horses,
it
I
could
think,
be lighting, it could
It's a,
be.
there was a reference
anything.
made on
Yes,
social
yeah,
media
absolutely.
about the light
But
scaring horses.
yeah,
nearby.
you were right. We'd have to be very
And so
objective,
The joke was
have some
something about, well, it
measures
doesn't
that
scare the flying.
can be repeatable.
Very interesting. I missed
right,
that.
exactly.
So
It would
get
have
the
to be
bombers.
definitive, it would have to
giving me
be
World War II
objective.
flashbacks.
You would have to, the flying
wild,
horses
but
came
that's
from
allowed.
Yeah, I was just telling
A
the social
face-
media.
Yeah, social media.
These are allowed.
I
it
thought the
scares- it
response
sca-
was,
Yeah, it was scaring regular horses, but it doesn't scare the flying.
Well, it was, yeah, they were talking about horses, but also like migratory birds. And so it got combined into
inflated,
being,
and so Doug had a lot of fun with
That's
that,
the-
and
that's
I,
the piece that
I
really
do
combined
imagine if
it.
it was affecting air flights because they come right over this.
Mhm.
Well, I'm
FAA would shut it
surprised
down
FAA hasn't said something.
It is surprising.
Yeah.
so anyway, yes, you could declare that, you could declare, someone has parked their car in a way that is legal, but it is leaking fluids all over everything. You could declare that a nuisance, although we have that in other places.
Yeah.
Unsafe RV.
If they park their horse and it's leaking. fluid.
There we go, if they park their horse in town,
Yeah.
And it's
There
leaking
we
fluids,
go,
he says, yeah.
livestock.
So
But this is a catch-all. Again, it's something, the one that I could think of specifically is the house on 8th Street.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what happened with that place?
At this point, we have accumulated about
The house that no one owns.
$6,000 right now, and because no one's paying the water bill for that.
Oh, boy.
And
Is it-
so, and we have not declared it a demolishable structure. So at this point, we're at a juncture now where we can foreclose on the house and have it sold. Just go up for the auction and have it sold, and someone can then buy it and do what they wish with the property. With the condition probably that it gets removed. The real house that gets
Right.
removed.
Hope they
Start
found their
over.
treasures.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's. oh, my.
Yeah.
Okay, so chapter 92 goes with the general, then it goes to animals. Again, we have animals running at large. There's prohibited animals. This is what you can't have livestock in town, essentially.
Pigs.
No bees?
Bees you can have, but again, I didn't.
What's a prohibited animal? We don't have any specifics.
Like a
on it?
pot-bellied pig.
Put again, I didn't.
I mean, do we have specifics?
Oh, yes,
Oh, okay.
as a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
it's probably,
Absolutely.
And removal animal carcasses, I would think leaving them would.
Well, that's removal of animal carcasses means that if you have them, you have to remove them.
Okay.
RFK Junior.
You can't just leave them on your property,
put that bear
or
back.
you can pay the city. It allows you to pay the city for the city to dispose of it.
farm animals and wild
Okay,
animals.
so let's go to
Bear, tiger.
chapter
Wild animal.
92.
Yeah.
Possible.
Pleistocene.
I shot it.
All right,
This is
so
specified
this is
animals.
the 9215. No person shall permit any dog owned or controlled by to cause damage or injury to gardens, flower beds, or other property belonging to another person. Horses, donkeys, mules, other equine animals, equines, or any cow, sheep, goat, or other ruminant animal, or any swine or goose, duck, turkey, or other fowl owned or controlled, which should be controlled by him or her to run at large within the city. That's the first one. Second one is prohibited. You can't keep goats, sheep, cows, horses, or swine. This does not apply to goats, sheep, or cows, horses, or swine being transported for commercial purposes, and sheep and goats may be used at our lagoons to keep
Oh, weeds at bay.
weeds down.
Got
Nice.
it. Blackberries.
We were actually at one time trying to see if we get someone who has those to say, would you mind
Yeah, my grandmother used to have.
go
goats
up there
to
and
keep
take
her
them out to the lagoons and
Yeah.
you can graze to your heart's content all summer
There's a
long.
little farm in Southtown off Alexander in Corvallis. They've got goats that I've heard they loan them out.
Well,
They'll
they
drop them on people's property for a
they
month.
eat poison oak, they eat blackberries, they eat everything.
Yeah.
Do take the grass and vegetation down very low. though.
They do. They're amazing animals.
Yeah.
You can have
They're
one hive.
I love
and
them.
it
bees.
can't-
You can have bees, but you can't have it within 150 feet of any street, alley, storehouse, establishment, public building, blah, blah, blah.
For each
Oh,
other.
okay.
For each other. And the owner is limited to one hive for personal use.
Got it. So Lilliputopia, I don't even think they have bees.
How many,
but
how many
theoretically,
for commercial use?
theoretically
though?
they could have bees because they're far from a street.
Commercial
Ooh.
zone, well, they would have to, they could do so, but not within 150
Yeah.
feet of any street, alley, storehouse, establishment, public building, private dwelling, or barn, or each other.
Good luck with bees.
He was just home for lunch and left.
No more than one single hoofed animal is permitted per half.
I know that our neighbor did, and it ended up in our honey locust tree, all the bees, big ball of them.
Oh, wow.
Swarm.
Well, he had those commercial box.
Yeah,
hives.
that's what he had too, but they left. The queen decided they didn't like the box and
Oh, well,
liked our tree better.
Stagnant water, water
that's why I have
pollution.
eucalyptus in my.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So let's see here. So those are, you can see all the, no person shall permit any animal carcass owned by him or her to remain upon the public streets or places or exposed on private property for a period of time longer than is reasonably necessary to remove and dispose such carcass.
Is that carcass under your
Um,
control?
It's been
Mark
6
had something
days.
for us over the weekend.
And yes, Mark was over the weekend. He came and removed said carcass from side road,
What? Oh,
Roosters,
a deer.
one
Those are
rooster
good.
per acre. If you have an
Um,
acre or more.
And since we only have one parcel in town that's more than 1 acre, a greater, an acre or more, that's how we read it.
And a no peacocks is like so specific.
Help. Yes, you don't
Do
want
not
peacocks.
get
Someone
peacock.
had,
Someone
someone
had
had a
one.
peacock,
Someone
yes.
had one.
Animal, that's how they're going to cows because goats are bi-hoofed.
I'm not sure. The city probably knows this, but certain animals, if you find them, need to be reported to ODFW. Like I found a barn owl over by Croson Bus Company, a deceased barn owl, and I thought, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I should.
We also notify, when we have dead geese in our ponds. If,
Got it.
and they want to know if we have more than 2 in a time frame, they need to know because that's
Avian
know,
flu or
but
avian
something.
flu.
Yeah.
And they're very concerned and they will come out and take care of it.
Oh, they don't want you guys
Yeah,
to touch
they
it.
do
Okay.
not-
Okay.
They're very interested in it, but with this year we had 2, but they were like a month apart.
Got it.
So they weren't concerned about, but we do report those things.
One single-
Also the eagles, if we have any eagle issues or all that, they want to know about it.
One horse
Our
with the
nesting
one leg.
pair, now their offspring.
Wow.
The rest of them have to have all.
So
4
yes,
legs.
we do notify them.
Okay. Just want, yeah, I
That's
figured.
part of the job is watching the animals. is you've heard me in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah, I almost got in trouble for not reporting a pygmy owl.
Oh, they're cute.
It was flying down to get a carcass on Highway 42 and right into the
Aw.
grill. I didn't know.
Oh.
And we found it and we froze it and we took it to a taxidermist and he said, I have to turn it over to the feds. We didn't get in trouble, but.
But that they are required to, yeah.
Yeah.
There's certain
I
things.
had heard before. I didn't know that.
And I wish that
don't know what
people-
kind it was though.
And people, if you hit a deer, you are allowed to salvage it.
You are now. That's
Yeah. Remember
relatively
looking in
new
the rearview
though.
mirror,
That's
there's
like
just
the
a
last 5 to
pop
10
up
years. Yeah.
You need to report it that you,
Salvage
there's
it.
account
It
that you
was.
salvaged it, but there's no penalty or anything else.
I
And
didn't
there's a-
realize people have to report it. That's interesting.
And if there's any witness that says you swerved to hit it, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right, yes, that you are.
You'll lose your
Mm.
car, your house and everything.
What if you hit the deer, but the deer runs away?
And that happens a lot. We had a similar thing over here. They hit a deer and it ran off the road over behind, well, at the time where our park host is, there wasn't a park host there, but it flopped over dead just on the other side of the pad. Fortunately, it bled out over there, but it broke its leg. And another instance, we had someone call the sheriff who they hit a deer. They knew it was injured. They called the sheriff and it was found in the slough on the other side.
The salvage rule is you don't have to be the person that hit it, but
Right.
you do have to report that you're salvaging it.
Hmm.
They used to let them salvage, the state police, you call the state police, they come pick them up and they actually fed them to the prisoners. But then somebody found out and they sued the state. So that stopped. And then
Mm.
finally someone got some sense and said, well, let people, if they want to salvage themselves, let them salvage.
Yeah, it takes, so-
Any beef.
So if you
saves us
drive
from
up-
getting the Kubota out and
Yeah.
taking it over and burying it.
So
with
if you
lime.
drive up and you see a deer that
Mm.
appears to be fresh, it doesn't even have to appear to be fresh, but it's up to you whether you want to salvage it.
Yeah.
If you want to salvage it for the hide or whatever.
Mm.
You make glue out of their hooves and their bones.
The cannabis related ones? Isn't
Yeah,
that
which one are
already?
we, how, oh yeah, here we go. Yeah,
The
nuisances
access and
affecting public health.
Well, in the access and visibility, I thought that's already covered by the state law, so I don't understand what the,
When this came out.
I
a
know
lot-
that
it-
Floyd once told me somebody was like burning their had a burn pile of their leftovers of their crop that they were getting rid of. And
Stuff.
he said that it was like everybody was getting smoked out.
Sorry, that's so funny.
I'm assuming that's where that's where the odor thing came from.
Interesting Coast Guard flights I had was escorting a bunch of deputies into South Coos County in the fall when everything's brown except for the cannabis bushes that they had growing out there with their beautiful grow centers. And they would cut them and then burn them. And I'm thinking, that smells awful. And then they're saying, Upwind, please, upwind. It's like, oh.
Right,
Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to fly back.
right. Oh, my gosh.
Goose County, that's where I was.
Yeah, that's, we did quite a bit of, until we got shot at, then they told us we couldn't do that.
I ran across a BLM road that had keep out and no trespassing.
We've had UHF scanner antennas on top of 200-foot fir trees,
Right.
listening and watching for us. So, yeah.
No, I turned around. I said, I'm not gonna push it, even though it's public road.
I've got a question.
Cannabis related nuisance. This is one that caught me because every time I come out of City Hall at night in the
Mhm.
wind, I'm inundated with,
That's what I was gonna, yeah. So there is a house on the city hall side of commercial. You know the one.
I
I'm
do.
sure. And technically I don't think they're violating state law because they're using it in their house in a private domicile. But when I walk the dogs past the house at night, it is a blast wafting off over the street. And I don't care, but I don't know if that's technically a public health concern, right?
that, according to this, when I was going through all this and reading, it's like, huh.
Well, did you enjoy it or not? Was it-
Yeah.
I mean, I knew the access, or the reason why I was asking about the access and visibility too, is because I know that's already in the state law for when they did the recreation laws. They said if you're gonna grow for your own amusement, that
Just keep it in your
It
backyard.
has to be,
yeah, it can't be from public view and it has to
Well,
be,
The odor part is because you can be
but the,
inebriating small children that are sitting out.
but the odor part from what, like I said, from what Floyd told me, he said somebody had been growing and they basically did a burn pile in their backyard and they decided that it was a little too much when it's
I
like
think this
smoke
is
going
one of
all over
those
town.
things where it really is complaint driven.
Okay.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
but you are always welcome to come and revisit this one. This was written a while back from Floyd. This is in that era. It's also when this was coming up and the laws weren't established.
Got it.
So the city wanted to be proactive.
Okay.
As an aside, we do collect marijuana revenue.
Mhm.
And as a condition of collecting that, we cannot prohibit
Yeah, makes sense.
cannabis stores. Someone does wanted to buy Raina's place and turn it into a dispensary. So,
But that's close to a school, right? So they can't.
and they can't because it's 1,000 feet of, it's just.
That's
at
where
1,000 feet.
900
We're in this
Yeah,
golden,
900, I think it is 972 feet or something
Wow.
away from, so no, they would have to,
they would have to come to council or go to the planning
they
commission.
would have to go to the
and
planning
ask
commission
for-
and then go to, probably, in this case, they'd have to go to council.
school.
Yeah.
They'd have to go to council and get an exception, but there is no commercial property in town that is, with the exception of the very far end where the Housemans are at the very, very far end of town.
Hmm.
That's the only property at the very, very, and beyond, I'm saying that property where the dog training facility is, there's
Yeah.
a chunk of property there. That's the only property that is outside of this.
The problem is it would also have to be in commercial zone too, so.
Yes,
Yeah,
That too,
that's
yeah.
true.
it
We're
is.
kind of in like our town is a Goldilocks area where we don't have to ban it because there's
Yeah.
so many regulations already that you can't really do it anyway.
The person that wanted to do that wanted to buy Raina's and do that. And I looked, I Google Earth, I sat down and showed, extended the line out saying,
Here's the ring.
you have that and you have the elementary school on the other side.
Yep.
So,
You're
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, you saved them some buyer's remorse, I'm sure.
but that's just. So these are all, if you go down, we have public safety, you can't do pits, dig pits and leave them.
Oh,
Oh my
No,
God.
big, like excavate in the middle of town, not the brickyard necessarily.
Hmm.
Why does it say fences on public safety unless it's fences in disrepair?
Okay, it's fences in disrepair, but let's see here. This is barbed wire. No
Oh.
person shall construct or maintain any barbed wire fence or allow barbed wire to remain as part of any fence unless such wire is placed not less than 6 inches above the top of a board or picket fence, which is not less than 4 feet high. That's what that is.
Okay.
So it doesn't want to protect me, it want to protect the little.
Right.
kids.
An example would be, we do use barbed wire at the water treatment plant,
mhm.
but it's on top of a 6-foot high chain link
It's,
fence.
yeah, it's on your.
Right.
You don't want it to be a safety hazard to regular people walking
Right.
by.
That is exactly correct.
Mhm.
So I have this section up so you can see kind of what they're talking about here. Again, these are probably a lack of solid waste Cindy's. Ooh. That is basically, you need a dumpster, like a multifamily home, and the dumpster needs to be enclosed.
And these are done with the same penalty for first, second, third
It's the same,
violation,
it's the same sliding scale.
which I think is fine. I mean,
Probably because these are probably,
because usually you notify them and then hopefully they take care of it. And otherwise you have to,
right.
give them another violation.
The one in here, which is our famous one that comes up every July 4th, is 9218 fireworks. We do follow the state fireworks laws, which is very, very restrictive. Not that people necessarily follow it, but bottle rockets are forbidden everywhere in the state of Oregon.
Yeah.
Anything at least.
Anything that flies in the air unless it's under a permit and all that, but there you go. And because we have adopted that is a law enforcement, that is Benton County Sheriff Office that would handle that. However, if you get a video camera and get a video of someone launching a bottle rocket and all that, that is admissible. But you have to
I've
catch them in
seen
the
it, but I
act.
didn't think the video.
You need to video it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because we had one. And I think even regular fireworks used like in the outside of the normal
The only thing that I'm
times would probably be something that you could deem a nuisance too, right?
You could, particularly if it creates a lot of smoke, loud noises, particularly at nighttime,
Cherry bombs.
a lot of those things, or those smoke bombs. I mean, the only thing that really is not really much of a nuisance are the little snakes.
Oh, even them-
What was the last social media thing? It was someone had done some fireworks on some random night. And
Yeah,
it set a bunch of dogs off.
the people across the street from us did a
Oh.
bunch because they
Here's some.
they got married or something and they decided that they were gonna go home and fire off a bunch of
December
fireworks.
31st.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
like
You'll be
a
able.
month
to
and a
see
half
some.
ago or something.
Oh, I know. But usually we
Usually
know
from
that's
out-
gonna happen.
From right over here.
Yeah.
So any of these things are so there's an abatement procedure for this. And if a nuisance, any of these things are nuisances, then it would probably go to City Hall. You'd have to investigate it a little bit to make sure that it really is a nuisance. And at that point, we would probably send a letter to the individual saying it's a nuisance. And if it's not resolved, it has to go to council. And then you folks start up this abatement process. So that's really how it works. So the penalties and all that, again, you are the arbiters of this. The only time you wouldn't be would be if we enumerated a state law such as fireworks and they were cited, then they would go to municipal court for that. It wouldn't go to you necessarily. But if it's continuous and they're having problems, then it certainly could still come to you. There could be the same person with two different actions from the law enforcement, Benton County under state statute, and also from the council under nuisance. So, but that would come to you and you would be completely responsible for how you wanted to deal with it. We would normally set it off by just simply sending a letter, like we normally do, warning someone that this has happened, we witnessed it, or we have evidence of it, please stop, cease and desist. If it doesn't, then this is what the consequences would be. And we have done that in the past, and sometimes it's not immediate, but we have had positive response from it. With the exception of the fireworks on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see what all that is, and then there's a sliding scale, which I think is probably exactly what you want in this particular
Oh,
issue.
I did notice that fourth is misspelled in both of these tables for 92.99 and 91.99.
Yes, it is.
And that's not, I mean, that's just like a little thing. I just thought that-
This is something, this is in your, ordinances. We'll have to.
Gosh, it's funny.
Okay.
Well, and I wonder if,
Do another update.
if on our master fee schedule, if we just want to have, if we want to go more to the one proposed here with the 2550, 125, 250, and then 500 for 5 or more.
What I would, yes,
And
and
then
I,
basically just change these to say,
Extend them out.
to see the,
Five character.
yeah, I would do 5 for. the
five, and then
500.
basically do, so what I would do is say, change it to saying that to the sliding scale, fee, the sliding scale fee schedule in the master fee thing, or see the master fee schedule for, so I would, so in this case, we would have two different things, really. We're saying up to $500.
Yeah, not to
And
exceed.
not to exceed with a daily fine. And then another one where we have the sliding fee schedule for the offenses.
Okay.
So I would list both of those and then reference, and then these would then reference the master fee schedule for the appropriate.
Got it.
Yeah.
Let's see, we have 90, we're on 92, 93. This is rather interesting because this really 93 is parks. But some of this is like city buildings. And it's, you know, my thought with this is that we have some, you know, park operating hours, right? Damaging property extends to everything in the city property. Littering is, this one also is garbage and refuse should not be brought onto any city property. Well, we have city garbage cans.
Well, I think that's meant for household.
Completely understand.
Yeah.
And it's for the lady that I followed going down Territorial,
Well,
who
what-
came to the city park and opened her
Yeah.
back
Right.
end,
If we're more clear, if we just say household garbage in front of it.
household garbage onto
Well, I mean, they're dumping their household garbage. So
Yeah.
they have to have a garbage can. How do you?
yeah,
word
I
that?
think that's how I would say that that's household garbage.
Yeah, just say household. I mean, that's where I've seen that law in other cities. They say household garbage.
Yeah, I think that's excellent, because that's what I've seen. We've seen people come to the park, stop, open their trunk, get out. I'm watching them. They're seeing me. They put their garbage in and down back down they go.
If it's like their lunch bag they got from McDonald's or something. Yeah,
No, this is bags of
full bags of garbage.
full
yeah.
bags of garbage and off they go. And we haven't, with Ron there, we have not seen a lot of that.
What about people who put their big bags of household garbage in your recycling? Because I've had that done a few times. I don't think that can be covered here anyway, but it's
No, that
annoying.
can't, but we're littering. That's, I think adding household to that's an
Littering.
excellent.
Yeah. Lame.
Campfires, most parks do not allow fires of any kind anymore. And we used to have those little, those
Charcoal thingies.
charcoal things,
So, yeah, the grills.
grills, but we're not, I have them, they had to be removed for the work that was done out there. We have not replaced them, and I'm not inclined to do so.
We
I'm
shouldn't.
inclined just to say no fires.
Yeah.
They took them out at Bell Fountain Park too.
I think they did too.
Too much of a risk.
It is too much of a risk.
Other than the place you get rent over on the. there's
Yeah,
a-
there's a kitchen there, but they used to have a couple like. we
Yeah,
had.
regular grills like
Right,
that, yeah.
right.
Yeah, where you just open well, you used
Yeah.
to see them on the beach campgrounds too,
Oh, yeah.
where you could
Mhm.
throw a
I don't
log
see
and
them
briquettes
anymore.
in. What does that preclude having a camp stove sitting on the picnic table?
Well, right now it says except in a stove or fireplace provided for that purpose.
So, I mean, if you bring your own stove.
So, and a stove. So so if we look at here on 93, let's go to 93 here, 93.
Because it says provided, and that makes me think that it's,
The provided ones were the ones that were stuck in the ground at the ends of the tables.
okay.
Those were the provided ones. We had like three of them. So no person shall build any fire except in a stove or fireplace provided for that purpose. Good point. Fire shall not be left unattended. Portable gas, gasoline, charcoal, and oil camp stoves may be used only of good operating condition and shall be operated in a
Okay,
safe
so you
manner.
can use that.
So under our current code, they can use that. I have not seen very many folks do that. I do not allow that on our enclosed area.
Mhm.
We have a sign saying no fires, no stoves, no
Mhm.
nothing.
You don't have any gas buildup.
Right. However, on the outside benches and things, I've only seen that once in the time, I'm sure it has happened. But the one out by just on the other side of the water plant next to the slough, between the water plant and the slough, that one table, I've seen folks, they've used our little charcoal thing, but they put their own stove on in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
In which I thought, oh, okay, that's looks
Mhm.
safe. And our fire danger was not extreme, so.
Well, and it looks like they can be, some stuff can be allowed with council or with permission.
Right, now, so the second one here, we actually, this one I left, but it's revised. This is camping. This is the one that we had to revise for the homeless,
Yeah.
3115.
And the homeless though, they're not allowed to burn, right?
There's no fires allowed, and they cannot be in the park. Right now, they cannot be in the North Field. They have to go across to towards the transfer station side, where it's higher ground.
Okay.
Because of flood.
Right,
Flood
we've
plain.
only had a few people this year camp. A lot of them are under the bridge.
Under the bridge?
Under the bridge, not at this point, but earlier in the year.
The
At
water gets too high and they
get
can't
too
really.
high, yeah.
Or once we get the dam out.
And then we had the one individual at the library.
Oh. Is that door always unlocked?
No, not supposed to be.
Or are they just sleeping on that back porch?
They're just sleeping on the back porch. They covered up themselves up in a tarp and slept there. They got themselves in trouble with the deputy who finally transported them, I believe, to Lincoln County.
Oh, wow.
Because what happened was they got them to Corvallis and they kept coming back down they said, I'm going to Junction City, Eugene, but stopped in Monroe.
So that's what my dogs are barking at.
Yeah, and it happened about 3 times before they finally were. And then they would get into a fight with the law enforcement. They finally just sent them to Lincoln County. Otherwise, most of this is pretty much the same kind of thing. Now, the penalty for this one, imprisonment.
Oh.
Oh, my.
That, by the way, won't fly. So
Which one?
93.99, violation of this chapter is punishable by imprisonment for not more than 90 days,
Wow.
or a fine of not more than $500 or both. I don't think,
How are those even synonymous to each other? Or like,
I don't think that's gonna fly. I'm not sure how this got in there, but imprisonment.
Something
No.
happened.
for washing your fish in the stream?
Now, if we had our own jail and our own police force and we wanted to do that, but
Responsible for
Hey, we're allowed to drink
paying
beer in here.
for them to be,
Food, everything.
for them to be housed in such a location, even if we
Hmm.
have fines imposed that
We did-
cover it. It's
he would
crazy.
never
Yeah,
Yeah.
take them.
we did have something that was called a holding cell at one time.
Well, we still do.
Yeah.
And when,
Has a little one-way mirror and
yeah, and it was,
a little bench.
Frank Thayer was the local cop. I mean, it was before I moved here.
Noise.
It's way before I came. but-
It has a concrete floor with a drain in the middle.
Where is this?
In a substation,
In the, yeah,
Yeah.
police substation.
police substation.
Used to
That's-
be the little cop shop that Frank Thayer ran.
It's
Wow.
you do.
It
So
looks like
I,
noise and sports equipment have their own special thing where you don't go to jail for those. Only get fined.
the only real issue we have, I mean, that other than, we have some littering. I have not seen a lot of property damage, thank goodness. We've only, since I thought the restrooms would be destroyed by now, we've only had a few instances where the towel holder's been ripped off the wall. And I replaced it with another towel holder, and that has solved the problem.
No, and
Nice.
No person shall permit any dog to run at large, and that happens frequently in the park.
yeah, it should only be in the
Dog
fenced
park.
off dog
Right.
park area, which is not at large. It's
Right, and
fenced off.
so what we have had people ask if we could provide a fenced area, say north of the ball field or someplace where large dogs can run and
A
have
little bit
fun.
larger.
Larger, but at the moment, no person shall permit any dog to run at large.
What I
My,
do is I walk down the railroad tracks on leash once I get out of town. I let them run.
Well, you're out of town.
You're out of town.
Yeah.
If you're in
I'm
the
out of town.
county, then
You're in
it's
the
their
county,
problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're trained not to go over to the roads and I don't do it when there's anybody there.
My suggestion with this one is the same as kind of the others, is a sliding scale offense. So we can give people warnings, which we have,
Mhm.
and go from there. The Benton County Animal Control does park themselves down here.
What about the firearms one, weapons? What if you have to dispatch a wild possum that the neighbor's dog wounded and it was very, very aggressive?
Well, I think one of the things we need to, weapons, interesting, this is another one. We have chapter 93 that deals with the city of Monroe properties and public properties. If you're on your private property,
Mhm.
You're okay?
we don't have anything other than if you're bullet or dart or
Obviously, yeah. that's-
BB or whatever,
Rocket.
travels your 5.56 round, travels through 10 walls and into the neighbor's house, which it will do.
It will.
Well, not maybe through 10 walls, but several.
Depends what you have. Green tip.
A green tip will go through more than three. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I had to put down we don't know if it was rabbit or not. We've sent it to the county, but Verna's dog chewed and broke the leg of a possum and it was,
Possums I love possums,
they're
but
great.
they are until you injure them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily I had an air rifle, so it was like a low risk thing, but
My thought on 93 is to look at it, but it really, some of this gets confusing as to what we're talking about. Are we talking
Mhm.
about the park? We talk about elsewhere? Maybe we should separate this.
I mean, I think part
So
of it,
93 is parks and we have another chapter that says public property.
Yeah,
well, and also these are civil penalties, so, it doesn't mean that if they did something more serious that also
more-
was state, it doesn't mean they couldn't get in more trouble, but this is
What our
the
civil penalties
penalties
are.
are. for
And
the
my
same.
thought is that the penalty for this should be based on the number of offenses. It's going to be probably in that realm. And it's more than likely going to be on warning people.
yeah.
And if they don't, then they get trespassed.
It does say cemeteries too. I didn't know we had a cemetery.
But you never know.
Oh, yeah.
don't yet.
We
If
increase
we
the boundary,
UGB a little north, then we've
Or
got
even-
ourselves a cemetery.
even up the hill.
If we're gonna modify it, could we put the trespassing as a, that they,
Yes.
that they,
Penalty?
Absolutely.
if
No,
with,
that's a good point.
with multiple, or I don't know if we want to set a limit to it, but basically if
Strike three. and you're out.
multiple, 3 violations or more can get you trespassed for up
Okay.
to, up to a year
I can do
or
that.
something like that. Because then it's in writing and then, that's easy for the sheriffs to say, okay, well, it's just
No,
an
it's
automatic
legitimate.
trespass if
By
you're.
trespass, and it's not a fine at that point. It's just simply, you're not gonna be in city park anymore.
Yeah.
Unless they damage something.
Or they'll still have the fines to pay or whatever from the other offenses, but
Yeah.
basically at that point,
We can have a sliding scale
I
too.
like that. That's good.
30 days, 90 days. a year.
well, you could say up to a year and then, if it's,
Well, I know, but if they do it, we trespass them in there, we catch them in there within that 30 days, I say pop it right up to 90
yeah, or a year or.
or a year, yeah.
Chapter 94 is what I spend most of my time with during the May and June.
Spring.
Oh, we talked about weed already.
Yeah. The noxious vegetation.
Noxious ones. though.
So this is the weeds and grasses more than 10 inches high. Now, the except agricultural crops that are not a fire, it has been removed. We did remove that section and I'm copying, but that part is, we decided that in town, inside our jurisdiction, anything more than 10 inches high needs to be taken care of. Poison oak or poison ivy and blackberry vines that comply with A through G. So not all blackberries are considered noxious. It's just that if you walk by them and they catch you, just because they're off to the side 10 feet away doesn't mean that they necessarily have to be abated. But if they're crawling up next to you, so if a reasonable person walking by would brush up against it or hurt themselves with it, then yes, then it is noxious and it has to be abated.
Well, and also that would be something where if somebody brings it to your attention, then obviously it's an issue.
Then we go look at it, take pictures, notify the owners, and it usually gets taken care of very quickly.
Okay, if I cut those blackberries down on city property, isn't it?
Sure.
I've done it 3 times before, but I haven't touched it for a while.
So at this point,
That's
I've
the city's
underlined some things in
blackberries.
here, particularly on the first page. You'll see under 9402, the city council may elect to charge a penalty against the owner, occupant, person in charge, or against the property itself for failure to comply with this chapter. Okay, so then you go down to notice, where a second or repeated notice is deemed appropriate by the city recorder, which we have changed, by the way, to city administrator. The city may move directly to the penalty phase as provided under 9499.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to reconcile 9402 with 9404B or whatever that is. Because at one sentence, it says the city council may elect, which I guess maybe is fine. They can elect.
May elect, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they can elect versus number 2, which I guess is, now I'm reading this again. A second or repeated notice, the city just may elect to move. So the first one, someone comes to council and says, this has been happening, I've talked to the city administrator 10 times. He's assured me he's notified them, but it hasn't happened. Here's my pictures. Council says, okay, look, enough is enough. We're going to impose a fine and we're going to escalate this. However, that shouldn't happen because the second or repeated notice, the city can go and right to the penalty phase on it. So I guess there's a part here that gives the council a little bit of, there's some extra things you folks can do. There is an abatement. The abatement is far more than what I listed here. It is very much
To pass on all the costs and everything related to.
if there is an issue and they have not responded, then I have to post a sign, which is usually on a bright green piece of laminated thing on a post. Mark goes and pounds it in their lawn saying, you have to do this. And if they don't, then we take care of it and charge them. Now, we did that once, but it was with it was Dundee Monroe Land Company out front. Mark did it, but we charged them and they paid it.
Right.
It was probably less expensive. Than that.
Well, they were trying to use the landscapers here in town that got put in prison.
Oh,
So that's the reason why he wasn't getting any
Oh,
action.
oh my. Okay.
I didn't know they got put in prison.
Yes.
Didn't either.
So in this case, we do have, we, again, this could be a sliding scale on this one. So any person, this would be having a fence. So that might be appropriate during growing season. And then also separate out and would be subject to the cost of any fire suppression. I think that's an important. Each day's violation of this chapter constitutes separate offense. So if we do sliding scale, the separate offense, that might be after the 4th or 5th one that you will now have to, because what you're doing is a first offense, second, now those are your repeated. Then the last one is each day you're going to be fined the maximum amount until you
Right.
fix it. And this would be for very egregious, situations. If we actually know who the homeowner is and they're just not doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
If we don't know who, or they're not available, whatever, the city's going to abate it and put a lien against their house.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think that would make the most sense anyway, because that also gives remedy for dealing with abandoned properties and stuff like that. If you don't know,
Snowbirds that haven't come back.
Right,
It's
if we
growing.
have to deal with it, then it goes against the lien and it's gonna be recovered when a new property owner comes on and takes care of it.
I
yeah,
mean, what if it's a snowbird that doesn't come back?
We have a few of those,
Yeah.
but they've been very responsible.
yeah, most of them have somebody that comes and checks in on their,
I mean, because if we have a growing season that happens early,
Right.
they don't expect it maybe.
In one case, we did notify the individual that they snowbird in Grants Pass,
Well, that's not very far.
not very far. And they said that they had a medical issue, but they were gonna have someone come up the next week. They did, problem solved. And we actually notified them. We have their numbers because on occasion they've asked us to turn water off and things on emergencies. And so we
Okay.
do keep communication.
Used to have a couple of counselors that snowbirded.
Interesting.
And so we take care of it. So, okay, I think a revision of this to include the number of offenses with the provision that a violation after the last one is each day, but I don't see where that would occur necessarily because we probably abate it and just put a lien on there.
Well, and I think it says here too already that each day's violation of this chapter constitutes a separate offense.
violation, right?
Yeah.
Well, and obviously it would be dependent on whether, how soon we go in and do our abatement.
Right, because I have to really, by July 1st, the
It could be
the
like.
mowing season is coming to an end
Yeah.
because we're not allowed to do it for
Right,
certain
you need
times
to
of
do
the
it right
day.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we try very hard now to make sure that everyone's aware that
Mhm.
July is,
Yeah.
you need to get it taken care of. Most people take care of, sometimes they're, things grow a little high, but they come and get it taken care of. You know,
Right.
it's a little bit of give and take. It's just, we don't want weeds 5 feet high. We're getting to the end.
Ooh, the next one's exciting.
Amusements.
Amusements, yes.
Isn't this amusing? So we have amusement devices, which are like pinball machines, park, cigarette vending machines, jukeboxes, pool rooms. I'm thinking of the 50s and early in the 60s. So that's what we're talking about. Gambling devices are not permitted. I don't know what Keno things are,
Or lotto.
or yeah, I don't.
Yeah, lottery stuff.
Basically, any of these things, you need a license. If you don't have a license, you're gonna have a penalty.
Makes sense.
I think this chapter, I don't,
It hasn't been enforced for forever. I mean, I know that there's places in town that have jukebox and a, you know, vending
Yeah, but it says
machines or,
2:30 to 6.
Yeah, that is so bizarre.
but it says that you're supposed to have a license to operate those,
Yeah.
the amusements.
right. And so when, for instance, when the Tumbleweed Inn, that is Brady Croson's establishment, came before us, part of that in the description is that be aware that we have this ordinance. So if you are going to have this, you need to get a permit from city council. It's not very expensive. I don't have the, let's see here, that would be so basically,
$27.50.
right,
Per
for a year, per one of those
Per device.
whatevers. So it's not like, I mean, this has not been updated or. enforced
No,
for
but I'm
years.
just saying, I don't think it's also been, I mean, it becomes hard to enforce if it's been on the books for
1983.
And not.
over 40 years. And like, you know, I don't think anybody has tried to enforce it or do anything with it.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do with this, because I've looked at other.
Because I
things.
know Benny's, I know Long Branch,
Yeah.
all have either vending or amusement machines that
Something.
would be qualified under this.
I'm gonna check some other ordinances.
Or some video games or, the claw and all that, but it's all covered in these.
Japanese, yeah.
And then vending machines, like there's a vending machine outside the dairy market for the water and the.
No,
I don't
for the
know.
water,
I
yeah.
like this one because you're gonna get 100 days in the county jail.
Yeah, I mean, it's outdated and also just has not been enforced and it's been on, you know, I mean.
On the books forever.
Well, the old laundromat had a vending machine, you could buy soap there.
Oh, yeah.
So
I will.
I don't know what happened that made them. Like you said, was there a specific, there must have been a specific business that was going in that was a problem or something.
Way back in the day, we're
Yeah.
talking now in the 60s and that type of thing. These were very prevalent.
Yeah.
But they were also areas that cities had a lot of problems with. I mean, that's where the law enforcement went to break up fights.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, shady dealings going on. It was vice, you know, all those things were associated a lot with these type of activities.
like a pool room.
Yeah, I mean, those are places that your parents warned you not to go.
It's the roaring twenties.
Yeah, so,
Hmm.
so yes, cities did regulate them. At this particular point in, I think this is archaic in many respects. So it's not that I think there are some things like, pool rooms or card tables. I think there's some social type of activities that are regulated, but like Harrisburg does. But
And like
it's only-
cigarette vending machines don't even exist
Yes, I mean,
anymore.
we
It's like-
don't, we
Or
get,
not in Oregon anyway.
we get a quarterly, our tax revenue has dwindled. We're now getting like $25-30 every quarter versus $1,300 for marijuana each month.
Well,
I
all
mean,
the,
it's
Yeah.
shifted a little bit.
well,
in
all
terms
the
of-
prohibitive laws with smoking
And
and
it's so expensive.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
all the taxing of it.
Yeah,
I
it's
so
think there are
taxes.
vending
It
machines
shifted a
around.
lot, which is good. I mean, it's a good public health thing to.
Well, at the moment,
reduced.
we could just simply say a fine, a penalty not more than $500, just similar to what we currently have.
Until we can
and,
circle back and just,
Right, circle back on it and do
Instead of
that.
100 days in the county jail, we
Yeah,
should
but I-
say 100 days in the city of Monroe work crew.
How would
Yeah,
you,
you're pulling weeds. Yeah.
how would you repeal this? You just do another ordinance
Amend-
that's a,
We amend it.
Oh, it's
We
amended,
we
yeah.
amend 90, we amend 90.
to
Whatever that-
strike and then it just strikes
yeah,
everything.
And then we say, right, or we move to amend the Monroe Municipal Code, removing chapter 110 amusements, and you can do that. You can also say, you can also amend any one of these. You can, remove you can remove half of those and, you can do an amendment that says anything you wish. We have done that in the past with some of our things.
If
We
it's something
moved
that's really
some
outdated, that
sections and moved it to others and just said it's outdated. And other cities have done the same thing. They've just removed entire chapters because they weren't, and moved them somewhere else where it made more sense. I think the last one here, I think it's the last one, right?
looks like
well, there's
it.
peddlers,
Peddlers and general offense.
which is the same thing. Peddlers, we haven't really been.
I've only had one peddler come to town.
I mean, well, the ones that we've,
Peddler.
or the ones that we've had were, are ones that, I don't know, wouldn't food trucks and all that kind of stuff be a temporary? I mean, they're not
They're
going
a
door to
food
door,
cart.
but
And we did it under different licenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that would be a permit if we want a business permit.
this is more solicitors that are going door to door,
Yeah,
Exactly.
these are the door-to-door people.
which I keep, I,
You don't even see those anymore, do you?
yeah, I mean, I've gotten a couple that were asking about doing windows and siding and, yeah.
Maybe I scared them.
In the
away.
last couple of weeks, I've had two of them,
Yeah, I had one for solar panels to my house.
I
I
got
had
that
one
guy
for
too.
siding.
and it was
so,
siding, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different guy, same company, and he swore up and down they hadn't been here. I was like, no, but it was about siding, and he was like, well, I'm here about windows, and I was like, I'm not interested still.
So, same answer, sorry.
But we don't have any signs that really let people know that come into town that peddling and soliciting is not allowed without a license.
Right, the only thing we have here is if someone, well, what is illegal is they cannot, no licensee shall solicit or attempt to solicit any sale from any residence or any location where a no solicitation sign. Now that in Corvallis, we have one clearly right next to our door, and that doesn't stop the Anderson window people.
Hmm.
And the nonprofits think that they're exempt. So I don't know. That's a good question. So again, does it stop the solar panel people from coming to town? Apparently not. We can put big signs up saying no soliciting in this town without permit. Is it an issue? I don't know. Could it be an issue? Is it something we should continue on the books?
This was the one everyone got all
Yeah, that one was-
weirded out about.
They were
We
they
don't
were
have
tracking
regulations
him on
about putting
Facebook.
solar panels on them, do we?
No, we
Crazy.
don't.
Good, because I'm thinking about doing it.
No, as a matter of fact, it's encouraged in it's our land use plan. Yeah, a matter of fact, it's so encouraged that you cannot build a home that might obstruct the sun from another adjoining home. There you go.
Mhm.
My cousin only pays $17 a month and that's just the taxes. She got hers in.
Yes, I have Ion. I have several that have been bugging. Yeah.
She's gonna send me who she had done.
Yeah. So no, it's Benton County permits. That's the only thing that we require. You go to Benton County and get your permit. I don't know about that one. If you folks want to keep, I think at the moment, the only thing on here is imprisonment. I don't think we are going to imprison peddlers.
I
No,
don't
but
know
we
why
can
we
find
need it
them.
because, well,
We'll bring it up next time somebody comes to my door.
yeah,
My thought is you keep it here on the books, and if it comes up, then they come to City Hall and we can get a license, which is going to require a background check and all that. We should probably have a permit and a fee to do all that
I just
work.
don't see anybody doing that for the population size we have, going through all that to sell here.
I don't think so either, but it would provide an out for people to complain and do something about it.
Mhm.
True.
I just want to tell the next person that comes to my door
Do you have
that,
a license?
that you could be in prison for up to 6 months for selling door to
And
door
there
without
it
a
is.
license. I mean,
And
bro.
it's right here.
That's 108 right here.
Black and
So you gotta
white.
pump that up,
Nice. Okay.
huh? That works.
I would. I basically for right now, leave it. There are other things. I mean, some of these clearly need to have some revisions to them
Why
as
is
we
that
go
six-
through it, but
why is six
that was
months?
not tonight.
No. So then we got
Somebody
130, the
really
last
doesn't like
one, it
their
looks like.
peddlers.
Oh, 130, general offenses. So we've adopted RS chapters 161 through 167. You can see what is there. This is, again, this is what we adopted, means that this Benton County can come in
Mhm.
and things against property, they go against any property, offenses against persons. They come into town. If you look at your patrol logs, they're citing a lot of that
Mhm.
already. Now, we have noise in other parts. That was for the park. This is where an example where we have it again for everybody else, unnecessary noise. So the keeping of any bird or animal, which causes frequent or long continued noise. Attaching of any bell to any animal. Don't do it. Use of any vehicle or engine stationary moving so operators to create any loud or necessary grating, grinding, rattling, or other noise. The blowing of any steam whistle.
You-
Bear sheets.
Right.
The use of any mechanical device operated by compressed air, steam, or otherwise, unless the noise thereby created is effectively muffled. The erection, including excavation, demolition. Now, that's one we have between 7 AM and 6 PM. That, when Red Hills was going on, they had some folks in at 6 AM pouring concrete.
Mm.
We did talk to the neighbors and got it permitted because it was hot and if they
They
didn't
had to
get
be
in
there
early, it
earlier.
wouldn't
Yeah.
work. So
Makes sense.
we talked, but we did go out and talk to everybody.
Mhm.
No use of gongs or sirens upon any vehicle
Dogs.
other than police, fire, and emergency vehicle. The creation of any excessive noise on any street adjacent to any school, institution, learning, church, or court of justice, that would be on Commercial Street, all the same are in use. I'll tell Chief Barnes that. The
Mhm.
discharge in the open air of exhaust of any steam engine drone, that would be using your quote, Jake brake, unquote, which
Right.
we do have signs on those in the town.
Yes.
Use or operation of any automatic or electric piano, phonograph, radio, television, loudspeaker, or any instrument. Basically, folks, I would just say sound producing device.
Mm, yes.
That renders the use thereof a nuisance. Provided, however, that upon application, city council permits may be granted to the responsible person or organizations. All right,
is
you may
something
not
that-
cry. No noise by crying, calling, or shouting. I love that. That goes way back.
Wow. Yeah. it
People
does.
going through town. Donuts, fresh pastries,
Mhm.
paper, get your paper.
You actually can do that with the paper provided newsboys may sell newspapers and magazines by public outcry.
I did, I did that when I first started for the Gazette Times way back in the sixties.
Well,
They had me start going down the street on a corner.
doesn't that cover our peddlers part?
No,
That's
they're
right.
not peddlers. They're news.
Using whistle,
Newsboys.
rattle, bell, gong,
Newsies.
clapper, horn,
Newsies.
hammer, drum, musical instrument, other device for advertising goods.
Crazy.
That's the guy with the big
Wow.
drum
that's
going down the
so
street,
dated.
I'm thinking of old cartoons.
Right.
Well, the guy with the sandwich boards on,
Sandwich board, yes.
walking around.
And conducting, operating, maintaining any garage within 100 feet of any private residence. We don't have those. This would be, Reader Building would have been one of the last ones. So those are all your noises. Some of them are fun because they're so archaic, but basically any noise that's a nuisance is,
Yeah.
I think 130.02 could all be just the sliding offense scale.
I think so too.
And then I know that a lot of these other penalties outlines are all specific to 130.01, which is all state offenses that we've just matched
Right,
up with.
so keep the
Right.
state sections, but the rest
Yeah.
of the.
1302, because it doesn't
It's
actually
all sides,
specify
yeah.
anything in here for 1302. It doesn't look like.
No, it's really 1302 is basically your first one. Any section of this chapter is punishable by fine not
Oh,
to
okay.
exceed $500. However, I think a sliding scale is probably much more appropriate.
And we
for
could
that.
just specify that, for 130 dot, specify that it's about regarding 130.02.
Right, exactly. The rest of them are state things, and what I will do though is let Benton County know that if they come into town and do that they cite them for the state guidelines, but they are also cited under municipal court with our fines as well.
I think it's weird that B is included under 130.02 because plenty of people attach tiny little bells to their cats' collars to keep them from going after wild birds. And I don't think any of those bells are that loud enough that they're going to be a disturbance to
To be
somebody.
honest, I think the use or operation of any sound producing device
Hmm.
or any instrument for sound producing or sound amplifying device so loudly as to disturb persons in the vicinity thereof or in such a manner as renders the use thereof of a nuisance, unless you come to city council. That whole section,
I mean, there's a lot of outdated stuff in this one, but
I think most of the bells they were probably talking about cowbells.
Or like jingle bells on a reindeer. I don't understand why you.
unless Todd wants to get one of his steam operated things down here, I don't know. right?
There used to be a bell tower in town.
I mean, I
Once
think they
upon a
were,
time, wasn't
it
there?
seems like they were just trying to
I'm talking about a
cover,
big bell.
Cover everything.
they were trying to cover all their bases.
When did they
and
make
that
this?
way-
1922?
This probably goes back to the time,
When there was a train running through at least, because I know that's why they got the train horns and stuff specified in here.
Yeah.
keeping animals that by frequent or long continued noises.
Mhm.
I think any vehicle or engine, people revving their engines and doing
Right.
that. Now it's,
Mhm.
we had,
Counselor Rich and I are like, we know about that.
people using Jake brakes in town. They're warned, but that should be in here as well.
Right.
Erection and excavation, demolition, building of homes between 7 and 6. I think that's a good one. Gongs or sirens on a vehicle other than, so yes, no, you're not gonna
Keep
put
your
a,
gong off the.
your car going through town.
Right.
Kids have done that. I mean, that's not the only one here, crying, calling or shouting or advertising, that's
Well, crying's at the mayor's house, so just let you know.
sometimes at City Hall.
Right.
Number C, use of any vehicle or engine. My neighbor was spreading gravel he rented a little trailer and a little dump trailer and he'd gravel in it and he'd rev up and peel out, dumping his gravel.
So
Till 9 o'clock at night.
the only one here that really, I think J could be reduced. K is probably not applicable anymore. Maybe those two, but the rest of them, maybe the updated language, but kids running up their cars, without a muffler.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm not sure. It's something those are nuisances and people do complain about them.
we've got a neighbor that loves to rev their engine in their driveway for like 15 minutes.
Seriously.
Just sits there.
Working on his cars and then just wants to sit out there revving the engine all day.
I'm listening, they're listening, well, they're listening to it. I mean, I understand. All right, sliding scale, keep the rest, do that, okay.
Get something out.
That's what I have, folks.
Well, I have a suggestion for an and I don't even know if this is an ordinance that people in any other city have, or if this is a normal thing, but like, so in light of what happened recently with Ms. Croson, like, is it possible to have a courtesy ordinance where the public is expected to treat other public or staff or council, anybody on public property civilly?
We have that already. It's not in here. It's not been
Oh.
published, but we
Okay.
did actually publish an ordinance.
Oh, we did already. Okay.
Yes, we did.
Could we put, like, is it appropriate to have a sign?
Yes, there is, as a matter, actually defined as being trespassed.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
The city council
Mm-hmm.
can't come to city hall,
Okay,
Okay.
good.
or you can't be in the city park.
Okay.
So if someone's being abusive to other people at the city park or any of our parks,
Mm-hmm.
they're on public property and you're abusive, you cannot. If you're in city hall or in city council.
Wow, there have been a lot of people trespassed back when I was in my first
Yeah.
term.
Could we put a sign up in City Hall?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
says like,
Civility is expected.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
exactly.
The way I would put it is have something that make it against an ordinance to interfere with any public official while they're carrying out their official duties.
Yeah.
Ordinance.
Okay.
I need to make sure that we're compiling some things. I need to get it to American legal publishing so we can get this updated.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, because you're supposed to submit like all the stuff each year that like was
We are,
added or
and
whatever.
they just emailed us.
Yeah,
So we're gonna get all the ordinances that we have
anything we
passed.
pass has to get added to the
We need to
code.
add it and get it to the code. There are some minor changes that don't change the nature of it, but we're just like fourth, for
Yeah.
instance, get the
Right.
spelling right, but
Spelling
doesn't change the
corrections.
essence of it.
Fine.
This, what we did tonight will come to you as an ordinance to remove these sections
Right.
and replace it, and then another resolution that amends the master fee schedule.
It's on
Got
the
it.
18th, right? Or 17th.
16,
16.
right?
Okay.
So so this will be a first reading because we
Gotcha.
don't have enough time yet. No, do we? If I get it to you by, yeah, I have 10 days. If I get it to you within 10 days, we can pass it.
Well,
Okay.
So I have
okay.
2 days to get it to
Okay.
you. If I can do that, then we'll do a first reading. we're not changing anything that people,
No, nothing's over.
it's already there. We're just making sure that it's consistent.
If we read it by Friday, we're good.
Yeah, if I get it to you by Friday with this information, you're good.
Okay.
It looks pretty straightforward. The other things we talked about will have to be amending, and that would be we could probably do that in the blanket. I don't think there's a lot of things, but some of these we'll just have to look at separately, like amusements.
Yeah,
Well, those
I
might
think
be
it's
a
time to
separate,
retire amusements.
thing.
it'd be nice to have a civility sign, at this doorway too. 'cause,
I think
Yeah.
all public buildings should.
Yep.
I mean, I've sat and watched a council president, she was trembling with some of the threats we were getting at city council meeting.
I have too.
And she
I have seen that in the
she
time
was
I've been
going to
here.
meetings, She was armed.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have any rule against being armed. So.
Yeah.
You all are aware that in the old city hall where the mayor sits, I was told ages ago that there was a metal plate there.
There is.
That's right.
And I
Wow.
said,
It's crazy.
so when I got the metal detector from our truck down, and sure enough,
But the rest of us didn't have anything.
the rest of you were.
Plebs.
And
Please.
besides the mayor's, when you sit there.
I don't have anything now, guys.
But Dead duck, but, I mean, I've said.
Okay. Mercifully, we are done. Thank you.
Did you say mercifully?
Mercifully.
Thanks.